Welcome to the nighttime, everybody. I am Art Bell. Coming up shortly is Kathleen Keating, who is an investigative journalist who's been investigating the end time scenario for the better part of a decade. Her book, The Final Warning, has been surrounded by anomalous activity and a lot of controversy. Kathleen publishes a monthly newsletter, keeping people updated on the latest developments in the precarious end time. She is continuing her research and writing a follow-up to The Final Warning, which is going to be called The Gates of Hell. In a moment, Kathleen Keating. Kathleen Keating also was a confidant of the late Father Malachi Martin, who was a very good friend of mine as well. Kathleen Keating, welcome to the program.
Well, thanks, Art. Thanks for having me back on.
Well, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Your phone has a little hum in it.
That hum has been with me so long, I think I'm going to have to pay child support. It's terrible.
All right. We've got a lot to talk about. The first thing I think that we ought to cover is there were a number of people, Kathleen, who ordered your book, and I've had emails from some of them, and they still have not received your book. So I guess what we ought to do is tell the book story. You're aware there are people out there who have not yet received it?
I am, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that they get a book. I've taken...
Do the wild thing at 775-727-1295.
To get the books to the customers. It's really grieved me because it's been a horrible year. These poor people...
So in other words, put another way, for some reason you have separated your relationship with the...
Right. We were in breach of contract because they couldn't fulfill their shipping.
Okay, so that held up the book for how long?
Well, that didn't hold the book up. They got the book out eventually. They were just inundated by your listeners and were overwhelmed, and they dropped the ball. And when they finally picked the ball up, UPS knocked it out of their hands.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have a letter here from UPS, which I think I want to read on the air.
Okay.
Is that all right?
You bet.
All right, this is written to one of your customers, somebody who bought your book, and it's an official letter from UPS. It says, "Dear customer, on behalf of United Parcel Service Canada Limited, please accept our sincere apologies for the problems you have experienced during the delivery of a novel called The Final Warning by Kathleen A. Keating. I want to assure you that the fault in making timely delivery was entirely that of UPS and not Picasso Publications, Inc. or Premier Radio Network. As a result, we wanted you to know that UPS takes full responsibility for this error and has taken measures to ensure that this does not happen again. We value the trust that you place in UPS and look forward to the opportunity to serve you again." And signed by a Vice President of Legal and Public Affairs for United Parcel Service.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's an amazing letter. What happened when your book got to UPS?
They were getting ready to ship the books. They had a book distributor here in the U.S., and all of the orders from your show went to New York, except for one box that had 10,000 invoices in it.
10,000.
10,000 invoices, and that box stayed missing for 4 to 5 months, sitting in a supervisor's office somewhere in one of the UPS terminals.
Oh, my God.
And when they finally found it, and I think it was September or almost October, they shipped it to the wrong book distributor, a distributor that didn't even have my book. And they consequently opened the book or box and found out that they didn't handle the book, so they sent it back to Picasso.
Mm-hmm.
So it just delayed it and delayed it further. And I've been making attempts since midsummer trying to get people their books, and it's just been a terrible wait for them. I still hear from people that haven't gotten the book yet, and I'll do everything I can. We've got attorneys on it in Canada, or solicitors rather, that are after the books. We're going to try to guarantee that these people do get their books.
All right. Now, for those who do not have their books and wish to tell you they don't have them, how do they get hold of you? Is there an email address?
There sure is. They can email me at Kathleen at KathleenKeating.com. That's Keating. Kathleen at KathleenKeating.com. Or they can write to me in care of Post Office Box 352, Ainsworth, Nebraska, Ainsworth, Ainsworth, Nebraska, 69210. And I'll be happy to take your complaint through the attorney and to Picasso to make sure you got your book. We have had some results with this art. We've gotten people their books just by sheer persistence. I've even gone to the point of buying books off of Amazon.com, trying to fill orders myself, but I just don't have the money to do that.
Wow.
Picasso isn't paying me either, so it's been a horrible experience, and I apologize to everybody that ordered a book that didn't get it, or anybody that had to wait for it.
Well, other things have happened. I just read the big terrestrial happening. I mean, 10,000 invoices, poof.
Yeah, poof.
From UPS. But bad as that was, other weirder things have happened with your book, too, haven't they?
Just amazing things. There have been people that have been reading the book and suddenly had a craving for Chinese food, although they hadn't had Chinese in 3 years, got up to go get the food, and a ceiling fan came down right on the place where they were sitting on the couch reading the book.
Really?
Really. People have gotten the book in bookstores. They've placed it in a bag. They walked out to the car, and the bag would be empty. They'd go back into the store, and two clerks would say, yes, we put the book in there. I saw this lady do it, and I helped her, and they had to give the person another book. They've disappeared off of car seats, dining room tables.
This is downright weird, Kathleen.
Oh, it is. Really strange. And one kid came home with the book. He finally got the book. He was just delighted with it. He found it in a bookstore. And his dad, who was a NATO officer, said, you're not allowed to read that book. And he said, why? He said, you just can't have that information in that book. And so that started another whole mess.
What is in the book that would fit into that category that would cause somebody to say, you're not going to read that?
It's a very explicit roadmap to the future, and a map that a lot of people don't want us to have, but we need to have it in order to get through this. I mean, there's a lot of strange things going on.
There are a lot of strange things going on in the world right now.
Uh-huh.
When you say a map to the future, give me a little, go ahead and take me on a little road trip here into the future and tell me how far we're going in.
We're going in right to the utter brink of Armageddon. We're going headlong into the third secret of Fatima, like it or not, of all the horrors that go with that, the earthquakes, the uprisings, the wars, the nuclear annihilation of a major U.S. city, a massive earthquake that will take out a Midwestern city and swallow it whole, the UFO invasion, the New World Order that's coming. We're being steadily moved on a daily basis towards that end. We're being moved into internment camps that are waiting for us, guillotines that are not an urban legend. They are there. They are real. We've got eyewitness reports. We've got government informants talking about them.
Guillotines.
Guillotines. And it's not something...
They're going to lop our heads off?
Well, just as the Bible said, that the believers will lose their heads. And it's closer than anybody dares imagine.
Well, so it is a pretty heavy book. Maybe, can you imagine that a parent might consider that information too heavy for a youngster?
Well, he wasn't that much of a youngster. I think he was well over 21, but still a kid, to me,
But I mean, could it be that, do you think? I mean, this is pretty heavy info.
It is, but I think it's something that you have to have. And I think if you love this country, if you love your family, you need to read what's in there, because it's government documentation of what they're doing. We've got Russian defector statements in there of what Russia's planning. They're not a beleaguered nation. They're thriving militarily. They're letting some of their people have a very rough time to meet that end. But it's a bad scenario, and we are doomed to be invaded by Russia.
Kathleen, how close were you to Father Martin?
Close enough that some of his intimacies would make the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
Yes, I know. I was that close as well. Without being able to say everything that I know about it, I will ask you, as I have many others, this question. The third secret of Fatima supposedly has been revealed, as you know. In your opinion, has it really been completely revealed? No. What they released last June was a lie, an outright lie. The document that they released was too long for Sister Lucy to have released it. We know that it was on one piece of paper. It didn't contain
any of the specifics regarding the third secret as far as the chastisements that the earth would see. It made us think that the Pope being shot was the fulfillment of the prophecy when nothing could be further from the truth. It was filled with misconceptions. I was notified by a Vatican intelligence officer before they released that secret exactly that they would be releasing a bunch of gobbledygook that was meant to mislead and to mollycoddle people into thinking that we passed the bullet, it's not going to hit us. We're not doomed as we think we are. And I'll be darned if that document that was released wasn't word for what the intelligence officer told me.
But that would mean that the Vatican told us a bold-faced lie.
Not all of the Vatican, and I don't hold the Holy Father accountable for that. But there are people in the Vatican, as you well know if you've spoken to Malachi about that people are doing some strange things there and manipulating information.
But wouldn't the Pope have had ultimate authority over any release of the third secret?
He does, to the point of directing something to be done. That doesn't mean that people are obedient to him. In May, when he was in Fatima, he gave us a very big clue that the dragon was raising its ugly head. And that was straight out of the book of Revelation to tell us. And that's part of the Fatima secret, the rise of the Antichrist. He tried to tell us there. And when the secret came out, the false secret in June, it was so much like pablum that it was hard to imagine that John the 23rd passed out when he read it, or that a 10-year-old would be frightened.
No, that's quite true.
Yeah.
And that Father Martin said, and he said on the air about the third secret, that if you can imagine the worst, it's much worse than that. It's beyond your imagination of awful.
Even if you were to take your imagination, the worst that it could be, or whatever movie, and multiply it exponentially, it still would not be as horrific as what we're going to go through.
Now, as bad as the assassination of a pope is, it would not be described in that magnitude by Father Martin. Popes would not pass out when they read it, that sort of thing. They do. No. So it's obvious that we didn't get the real McCoy.
No, and nor would Father Martin have sworn an oath not to say something. He had very serious knowledge of what's coming, as you know, when he relayed things to you. So it's something that it's an anomaly that they've let out. It's a real paradox, but definitely designed to hurt us in the end, to keep us complacent and to think that we're okay.
Kathleen, what do you know of the contents of the real third secret?
I never asked Father Martin directly because I didn't want to put him into a bad position. I asked him to tell me in generality. I've had it confirmed with other people as far as what's contained, and it refers to very specific chastisements, both spiritual and physical. Just horrible things. You know, not only the rise of the Antichrist, the destruction of the Catholic Church, save a remnant part, terrible UFO problems that are coming, horrible earthquakes, just tumultuous earth changes that nobody can even fathom, one right after another and some simultaneously.
And is all this leading to something, to some crescendo, or is it just a long period of time and we will experience some little piece of that unfolding?
Well, we are every day, aren't we? I mean, we're seeing the shootings occurring in schools, and some psychologists are even calling it Manchurian candidate kids, that they seem to just go off at opportune moments. We've got the earthquake in Seattle. I was fascinated to find that in the Bible code. It even had 6.8 on there, and I think we're just going to see, one prophecy is that we're going to see mountains split to the ground and just disappear. If you think of the United States, we're going to be split in half. We're going to be invaded by the Chinese and Russians. They're working together. Just horrible things. The heads of Americans will be on the light poles.
Somebody sent the following. I read the final warning. It was enjoyable and informative. I'm sure you cannot read God's mind, but why do you suppose the first 5 books of the Bible are in secret code for only a select few, those who can afford the special decoder software from your net site to interpret them, when all the rest of the Bible is readily available for all of us to understand? Why are the first 5 books encoded?
Well, I think that was the book that Daniel talked about that would be closed until the end days. And I think that that's through the advent of computers and so forth, we're seeing that book opened. And I think that that's to prove the mind of God, how great it is, because we're going to be hearing that God didn't create us, we were dropped here. You know, there are other alien beings that deposited us here as an experiment.
Oh, that's been going on with Zecharia Sitchin and many others for a very long time, Kathleen.
Sure, and they're going to try, through this deception, to debunk the creation theory and to debunk God. And I think that when you look at the Bible code, yes, the software is expensive, and it's really too bad, because I wish it were public domain. Because what is in that Bible code is just, it's not like a Ouija board that you can predict the future, but it certainly has the overwhelming evidence of a God that's so great and so beyond our imagining that, there's just no doubt that he exists.
Have you ever wondered, Kathleen, what if you're wrong? What if the Zecharia Sitchins are right? What if so many others who can prove ancient civilization at a time when there should have been no humans on the planet? I want to bring some of those people on. They have very compelling arguments.
They do, don't they? And,
yes.
And a lot of them, you start to listen to it, and it seems to make sense. But in the final analysis, it won't hold up. Just like anything else, it's going to look good for a while, but in my heart of hearts, and I know in Father Martin's heart, we knew. You just know that it isn't going to be what they say it is.
Or what about was? In other words, that our beginnings are not as described in the Bible, that Genesis is not the way it all began, that evolution is, in fact, a scientific reality.
Mm-hmm. I think if that happens, Art, if that comes about and people accept that, I think they will readily lose their minds within a short period of time, because I think God is the glue
that holds everything together?
That holds us together. And when you remove him, as we're finding out in this country, when you remove him from schools and the courts, we're going to suffer for it. And I think that our minds will not be able to fathom the fact that he isn't there. I think we know he is in our souls. I think we're imprinted with that. And I think that when this deception comes on, it's just going to make a lot of crazy people.
Well, a lot of people say that wars, so many killings are done in God's name. Mm-hmm. Those people are right. There are a lot of people that have died in wars
absolutely
fought with God's name, and
absolutely
a lot of people who do very terrible things always claim to have God on their side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's not right. You just can't kill somebody in the name of religion. That's not what it's about. But a lot of people misuse that, and we're going to have probably the biggest battle of religious hobnobs in the history of mankind very soon. We're all going to go to this one faith, and we have to do it this way, and it's going to be a terrible debacle.
All right, I was talking earlier about the shooting in Santee.
Mm-hmm.
One 15-year-old boy walks into a school bathroom with a pistol and starts shooting his classmates.
Right.
Kills 2, wounds many more.
Mm-hmm.
A 15-year-old. I was told that he smiled as he did the shooting.
Right.
That he smiled, Kathleen.
Right.
Now, I ask myself whether there really is an evil, an honest to goodness, external evil force, as we think of the devil or
mm-hmm.
Lucifer or I don't know, whatever name you want to attach to it, a real external evil force. You believe there is, don't you?
Absolutely. I have experienced it, and I know it's there. I know it's real. I know people who they've had it up close and personal. Father Martin certainly had it.
Yes, Father Martin saw it. Father Martin did exorcisms and dealt directly with it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one instance in your life when you, too, dealt directly with it, wasn't there?
There was, when the Antichrist came to visit.
All right. Only in America. The Antichrist came to visit. We'll tell that story briefly at the bottom of the hour, coming out of the bottom of the hour, and then we'll move forward from there. But that happened. The Antichrist actually came to visit Kathleen Keating. It is. Kathleen Keating is here, and let me give you a little warning. It may not be a final warning, but it's a warning. A lot of what you're going to hear this morning is going to be somewhat disturbing for some people, obviously. We're talking about the final days. We're talking about the chastisements, the third secret of Fatima, things that are pretty heavy for a lot of people. And if it's heavy for you, then, turn that radio dial. Get a little extra rest tonight. Some of it is pretty scary stuff. Once again, Kathleen Keating, and I guess I will issue that warning again. If this kind of thing disturbs you, you might want to tune out. It may be the kind of thing you don't believe in or don't want to hear, and I understand that. Kathleen, you're back on. You actually had an encounter with what you believe to be the Antichrist, right?
I did.
Can you briefly tell that one more time?
Sure. Let me first say I was doing some research for my book and some other projects I was working on. And the Antichrist, we read about it in the Bible. We know that some figure will arise. But I started to pay attention when exorcists were debriefing the demons that were being exorcised. And under those conditions, Art, they have to tell the truth. The demons have to be honest. Mm-hmm. And a lot of truth comes out. And they more or less confirmed, without any doubt, that the Antichrist is a real person.
Just before we do get going with this, mm-hmm. I remember in the movie The Exorcist, mm-hmm. and you're right, once the Exorcist had begun, the demon or the devil or whatever it was in that girl, and that was based on a true story, by the way, folks, began to tell the truth. Horrible as it was, it began mm-hmm. to tell the absolute truth. It said who it was and all kinds of horrible things, but the truth. Why is that? In other words, why are they forced to suddenly tell the truth?
Well, under the power of God through the priest and with the holy water and the crucifix in front of them, they cannot deny the truth. They have to tell the truth. They are bound by laws. There are laws, in heaven, on earth, and in hell, and they are bound to follow them.
There's even laws in hell.
Absolutely.
That's a new concept for me. Laws in hell. You think of hell as kind of anarchy, I guess, chaos.
It is, but it's controlled to the point that people are asked to perform certain duties on demand. Certain things have to be done on demand. They have laws, and there are definite rulers down there.
It figures.
Yeah, you can't get away from it.
Yeah, it figures. It just figures. All right. Well, anyway, you were working on your book, mm-hmm. which was the final warning, right?
Right.
And what happened?
Well, I had been doing some research as to the Antichrist and his identity, and I ended up, I don't know why, I suppose stupidity, calling his organization and doing...
Wait a minute. Well, listen. His organization?
Yeah. He has an organization that's international. It's funded by the UN and West London banks.
What?
Yes.
The Antichrist?
Yes.
Has an organization funded by the UN?
Yes. He even has a whole program dedicated to him by the UN and now the Dalai Lama.
What?
And he is helping people in third world countries, helping them with money and buildings and so forth, especially down in El Salvador after the earthquake. He's got these people all over the world, and the UN is helping because they know the plans. They know that he is their Messiah.
Why would the UN want to assist the devil in any way?
They don't think he's the devil, Art. They think he's the return, the Messiah, the one.
So, from what you're telling me now, the Antichrist must be alive on Earth.
He is, and I saw him. And I think
let's go ahead and finish that story, and then we'll backtrack. I've got some questions.
Okay, well, I interviewed his people, and I don't know why, but they asked for a phone number where I could be contacted, and I gave it to them. Uh-huh. And a couple of weeks later, it was really early in the morning, and my dog had to go out, and nobody else in the house was up, so I got the duty to do that. So I got up, took her out, and I was in my pajamas and opened the back door and let her out to go down. And she's quite a guard dog and very, very feisty and barks a lot and doesn't tolerate anybody messing around her house. And there was this guy standing in the backyard in an Armani suit, charcoal Armani suit and a turtleneck with his long hair pulled back, very good-looking guy, and I was like startled because there I was in my pajamas. It was embarrassing, you know. But the dog couldn't bark, and it was disturbing to me because it wouldn't take anything for her to cross a lawn and
Could he easily have walked into your backyard? Do you have an open backyard?
No, it was totally fenced in.
Totally fenced.
Totally
so
fenced
here's
in.
This handsome guy in an Armani suit in your backyard.
Yeah, and in western Nebraska, that looked really odd.
Oh, way out of place.
Way out of place. And there he was, and he was about 6 feet, 6'2", trim, and a good-looking guy. And he said hi. And
You said what? Hi there?
Yeah, he said hi, and I didn't say a word. I kind of closed the door because I thought, who is this guy? And I got a good look at him, and I thought, oh my God, it's this purported Antichrist. And my heart started going a little bit, and I thought, what do you do? And I looked at my dog. I was hoping that she was going to do something. She couldn't move. She had one paw up in the air. She tried to bark. You could see her trying to move her mouth. Nothing came out. Nothing. And you couldn't silence this dog if you tried normally. And he kept walking back and forth looking at me. And I looked at him, and I really didn't want to make eye contact because I'd been warned that he has very hypnotic skills. And I didn't say anything, and I didn't say anything. And he just walked back and forth. And when I didn't say anything, finally he walked off into thin air.
You saw that with your own eye?
I did. And I looked at the dog. She looked at me. She ran back up. And it was like, did you see that? I shut the door, locked it, and then my knees started to get a little weak. And I thought, well, Kathleen, you know, are you seeing things or not? And I did some investigation in this, and somebody else had the same occurrence, only he had knocked on her door.
Really?
Yeah, she was an author in England writing about the same subject I was, about the end times and the rise of the Antichrist. And sure enough, the guy pulls up in a Beamer with a guy in army fatigues. They knock on this woman's door, and she opens the door a little bit, and he asked her, and she knew who he was because of her research, and he said, how would you like to significantly improve your life?
Really?
Really. And she said, no, thank you. And the guy in the fatigues turned to the Antichrist and said, well, why don't you just go in? The door is open. And he said, I can't. Because her soul apparently wasn't open to it. And that's what I've been told by several people.
In other words, you've got to agree. You've got to give consent.
Again, it's a rule of God that everyone must follow, that if it's evil, you have to let it in.
Well, all right. Now let's back up a little bit. Mm-hmm. You said you called the Antichrist organization where in Europe?
Well, I called him in the United States.
In the United States?
He's everywhere. He lives in...
Is it like 1-800-4-EVIL or what?
Well, I could tell you what
No, don't give me the... maybe you better not. You could tell me, huh?
Well, I could tell you. Well, I think a lot of people know. I mean, I've certainly gotten emails since your show when I released his name, probably midsummer.
No, I don't.
And you may not want to go there.
I may go there, but I want to talk to you privately.
No, I don't blame you.
Go there. Oh, God.
I don't blame you.
So there's actually a phone number for the Antichrist's organization.
Yeah, several of them. I mean, they're all over the place.
Okay, then let's try this avenue of attack. Why would you have left your phone number with them?
I don't know. I mean, it was like totally stupid. I guess, you know, I had no idea that they would be coming back at it. You know, I didn't even think about it, and I guess I was so lost in the research, it was like, well, you know, come on, they're not going to remember me from anybody.
Hey, listen, you can give your phone number to companies that sell meat, Kathleen, and you will get calls for the next 2 years trying to sell you meat.
I know, and I've been duly chastised since that happened. You know, so I don't give out my number now to anybody.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So they actually did they call you back? Well,
no, they never did.
Okay, so they just use your phone number to get to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had a very lengthy conversation with them, several hours of investigative work with them, and they were very obliging. Of course, they don't see him as the Antichrist. They see him as the Messiah.
I didn't know the UN recognized anybody as the Messiah, and they don't officially, do they?
Well, they're beginning to. We've certainly seen with the United Religion movement, the push to it, we're seeing that the one world religion is moving forward. And certainly the Antichrist and Gorbachev are working together, and the people in the UN know about it. There's floors dedicated to this.
Well, I've seen all the movies about evil, and it seems to me that people like yourself, working on a book like you did, end up with 2x4s through their chest.
Yes.
And other equally horrible things.
We have had some very bad experiences, and I've also been bribed, so to speak. I didn't take the bribe.
Bribed in what way?
Some of his people contacted me, and just, when the book was going wrong, everything wasn't going right, people were upset.
Yes.
I was going financially under, and it was this wonderful, how would you like to change your life significantly, with unlimited funding.
Really?
Yeah, and I had it on more than one occasion, and it was, oh, brother, and it looks tempting because they don't come at you as being perhaps part of that organization. They come at you as being very Christian people, so to speak, that want to help you out, that, you're doing a good thing to them.
Well, how do you discern?
That's very difficult. I made a lot of calls and did a lot of investigations into what they were saying and who they were, and I was able to track down that they really were tied to him. And it was only by the grace of God and through a lot of prayer that I didn't fall for it, because it really would have been bad not only for the book, but for myself personally, my family, and our souls.
So you think then, I remember that Father Martin said that he could recognize people who had made their pact with the devil.
Absolutely, and I can too, in some instances.
He called them the perfectly possessed.
Yes.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And he said he could actually walk down the street and recognize somebody who had made that deal. And it was a subtle difference, but something that he could recognize immediately.
I have gotten so that I can, and I talked to Father Martin about this because I had a couple of instances where I saw a man who was in the position of a police officer. And he came to the house, and when he looked at me, there was nothing but abject evil in this man. I wouldn't have even called him a man at that point. There was something in his eyes, and he was a friend of my husband at the time, and I said, he's not coming in the house, ever. And he said, don't be crazy. I said, no, I'll prove it to you. And I contacted Father Martin about it, and I said, is it possible for a person to see absolute evil in another person?
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. And since then, I've acquired perhaps more of physical reactions to people that aren't good people. My stomach will flip-flop. I get kind of an electrical charge around me that I can feel that, and I guess that's common.
I think we've all felt that.
Uh-huh. I don't think I'm special in that at all.
Well, here's another thing for everybody to think about. I guess certainly it's not universally true, but if people make pacts with the devil, and it's a thing they can do very easily on their own, if they crave something, if they crave a great career or success or money or some material thing in this world, and they make their deal, then more times than not, Kathleen, our most powerful people, our leaders of industry, successful people in the media, Hollywood people, you would have to imagine there would be a higher percentage of the perfectly possessed among this group than the poor and the down and out.
Absolutely. And you know why? They go for ego. And when you start seeing our leaders with their egos getting out of check, I think that's the first sign. Pride goeth before the fall, so to speak. And I think that we can recognize it more and more in our leaders. When that ego gets so inflated that they have no scruples, whatever they do is right. And certainly the Antichrist people certainly confirm that they're in touch with our leaders on a daily basis. It's no surprise.
Well, I'm not sure everything they do is right, but most of what they do is successful.
Well, it will be on
for
Earth.
them personally.
It will be on Earth. They will thrive, and usually these record deals are amazing, aren't they? I mean, some of the money with ball players and so forth, and you really wonder, not that all the ball players are bad that are getting $100 million, but sometimes somebody just does one thing and they're almost a billionaire overnight. And they seem to be living a charmed life.
But it might not be the kind of charm that we imagine it to be, huh?
No. And I think that there's a charisma that goes with that charm that blinds people to reality around them. I think that when people try to scrutinize leaders and so forth, that they tend to be, sidetracked in investigations. Certainly we've seen that in government recently.
But if you look at modern American politics, how, for example, do you get to be a congressperson, a senator, or even more so with the presidency? How do you get to these high offices without lying, cheating, making deals with the devil in a sense because you need money? And so you make deals. I mean, politics is the art of compromise, which is a nice word to cover a lot of sins.
It is, and if you belong to certain organizations, as many of our recent leaders have, those organizations have given themselves completely over to the devil, and so that they're just acting out the part. I'm not so sure, Art, that it matters who gets elected anymore, as long as, we know they're all members of the same club. It's just which road they're going to take and which part of the club they represent.
Well, if you believe that, then it's like it's all a gigantic conspiracy, and it really doesn't matter who's elected, because they're all sort of, as you point out, in the same club. You believe that?
I don't want to believe it, but the more I've seen, and certainly my current research has indicated that it is one big conspiracy, that there are good people involved that may not be totally cognizant of what's going on. But the major players are well aware of what's going on and what they have to do to achieve it.
So there are dupes for the devil, and then there are direct servants of the devil.
The devil uses everyday people like 15-year-old boys to carry out certain tasks to achieve an end. The devil can get us through money, ego, pride, whatever. It's all connected, but the bigger players can be manipulated, and I think a lot of them are going to be betrayed by the Antichrist. Certainly prophecy is indicating that a lot of them will be killed. But they're all playing into the part that they're going to have a lot of money if they do things, if they deliver this or they deliver that. Clinton was to deliver the peace in Israel. He had a big paycheck not the Nobel Prize, but a big paycheck from an organization that wanted to see that come about.
So the devil then will lie and lie and lie to get to his end, whatever you want to call it, his end.
The devil is 90% truth and 10% lie, and that's where they get you. Because a lot of people, we use the rationale. Well, if they're right about this, they've got to be right about that. They're telling the truth here; they must be telling the truth there. But it's that 10% that'll get you. Every time.
So, in other words, most of the lies that are really good lies have some little kernel of basis in truth.
Sure.
And from there, the lie is built. Is that it?
It is.
Okay. All right, Kathleen, hold on. We're at the top of the hour. Kathleen Keating is my guest. We're talking about the final days. I'm Art Bell. Good morning. Want to take a ride in a shiny new car? Want to improve your life? Sign right here. Right by the X there. It's something that we'll take later. Nothing that you have to make payment on right now. But your life will improve. Things will get much better. You'll be a big success. Just sign right here. It's so easy. What do you have to lose? Kathleen Keating is my guest, and we'll get back to her in a moment. By the way, everybody, I told you that we would have an open line segment Friday. I lied. Actually, I've been summoned to a convention, and I'm not going to be here on Friday only, Friday night, Saturday morning. And I'm not exactly sure who he's going to have on just yet, but that will be apparent on the website shortly. I'm going to a radio and records talk radio convention in California, and there I will have a one-on-one with Matt Drudge, none other than Matt Drudge. That should be really, really interesting. So I'm going to split for California for a very short time, and you'll have Ian Punnett here Friday night, Saturday morning. Therefore, I will schedule open line segments. I will find time, if I have to do rescheduling, I guarantee you we will get open line segments in. The single most requested open line segment, by the way, remember I suggested last week that you tell me what you would like? Well, leading the pack by far is the Antichrist line. Second to that would be time travelers. But for some reason, there is a great fascination with the Antichrist and those who may be working with or for him. And Kathleen, you're back on the air again. I'm going to choose, I think, not to air the organization, the name of the organization, nor the name of the Antichrist. However, it is both, I guess, are on your website.
Yes. All the information is there, although the website went down about an hour ago.
It did?
It did, but it should be back up. And I've given enough clues in the final warning as to who it is. At the time when I wrote it, I couldn't name him. But there are enough clues that anybody looking for him could find.
You have now done so. And, it's interesting. The person that you name was to be, you're not going to believe this, that person was promised to me as a guest.
I believe it.
Do you believe it?
Yes,
it's
because
true.
They want your power on the airwaves.
It's true. That person was promised to me as a guest. They would not unveil this person to the world on my program. They had promised that elsewhere, but right after that, they were going to allow me to have this person as a guest. And you're telling me this person, we both know who we're talking about now, is the Antichrist.
Yes, but he wasn't going to be unveiled on your show that way. He was going to be the Savior.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. You're correct. Was going to be unveiled as a savior. But that person you're saying is the Antichrist. And when your website does get back up eventually, people can go to it and find out who it is, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I even have the Bible code referring to it.
How did you come to get involved in the Bible code business, Kathleen?
It was another tool of research, and it was brought to my attention by a lot of researchers and theologians. And I thought, well, maybe, I'd take a look at it. It may not have been anything that I thought was going to work out, but the more I got into it, the more I thought that, boy, this is the real article. I don't know if you work with it at all, Art.
No, I have not yet. I mean, I know obviously something about it, but I don't know what it reveals. So assist me, Kathleen. What do we find as we begin to look through the front of the Bible through the eyes of the decoder?
Well, first of all, God dictated the Bible to Moses letter by letter, with absolutely no spaces. And I do believe that Daniel was given that information as to what this would reveal to us. I mean, if you take a look at Dick Cheney, for instance, just because of what was in the news today with his heart,
yes,
he came up in the Bible code. And I've got it up on the website if it ever comes back up. And he's listed there as vice president with his wife, Lynn. Her name is there. Heart is listed. Power, the UN, apparently, upheaval and war, and just fascinating things. Now, there are 5 paths for every person in the Bible code. We have free will, so whatever we choose to do with our lives is reflected in the code.
Again, people would ask, why would God encode anything? Why not just let it be plain words, easy to understand for all?
Because I think it would impinge on free will. I think that if we knew our futures, we might not make the same decisions, and we certainly wouldn't learn from our mistakes.
Again, why then put it in there at all? Why would God put it in any form, including an encoded manner?
In our time, I believe that lies are so prevalent that the truth will be a scarce commodity. It already is becoming that. And I think that the code certainly gives us the fact, it mentions that God is truth. It gives us a foundation that he's real, that he cares about us, that people that, Aunt Sally is listed in the Bible code. Not everyone's in there, but a lot of events are, and things that couldn't possibly have been known other than in the mind of God. And I think that we're going to need that badly to know that he's real.
How are you able to validate that the software that breaks down the truth or the message behind the message is valid?
Well, through trial and error, and I think that you can confirm it with rabbis who, of course, know the Hebrew backwards and forwards. that they can find the code if they know where to look, that they can find those letters and how it relates from Hebrew into English. And I think that you can find certain particular subject matters. I mean, like the Kursk was mentioned, the USS Cole was mentioned, things that, how many people died on the ship, things like that we couldn't possibly plug in. It's just concrete right there.
And you've seen all that in continuing language. In other words, you don't just pick up Kursk and then another random number 5 pages later and put those two together.
No. These words intersect one another.
They intersect
one another.
That's worrisome.
Well, it is. And you look at Dick Cheney. Dick and Cheney go together.
Yes.
Heart goes across. It's all there. It's not like, well, okay, 3 chapters later in the Bible we'll find another meaning perhaps that relates to Dick Cheney or to the Antichrist for that matter, or George Bush. The Secret Service took the Bible code so seriously when people have discovered that certain leaders might be assassinated, that they're starting to listen to it and starting to believe that maybe it has some real meaning.
All right. Do we know for sure that whether there's been an increase in America, in fact in the world really, but certainly in America and in the Western world, demonic activity, possession, that kind of thing is really, really kept behind closed doors for the most part. Do we know whether demonic possession is on the increase in our country or in the world?
We do know it is on the increase, and there's been a change in the exorcist rite in the Catholic Church. They've removed Satan from the text, which is a curious move.
What?
Yeah, they have not the text that Father Martin would have used, the effective text, but they have changed. They don't want to say demon. They don't want to get too personal.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nightmare, and I think as we see more possessions, we're going to have a terrible time, because perhaps these exorcisms may not be as effective.
Well, obviously not. If they're fooling around with the wording, it sounds like some sort of PC exorcist, right?
Seriously, you can take it, a course online or something and learn how to do it.
Well, when I talked to Father Martin, he gave me some incredibly disturbing figures about the amount of possession, and he could only comment on his area in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But he gave me some very disturbing figures about the incredible increase in just his area. And you're saying you're able to verify that nationwide or even worldwide?
I think he said something like 800%.
Yeah, that's right.
And but it's up even further than that in the past few years. Way up.
Do you believe that children like the 15-year-old that did the shooting in Santee in school are possessed?
I don't know if they're completely possessed, but I think that they are controlled. I think they allow that control, and I think they're utilized. And I only say that from basing things on a personal experience that I had, that people can be gotten to, people can be controlled, and they can do things that they would not normally do. And they become so engulfed in the doctrine of the dark side that they will kill at a moment's notice. That something like a switch happens. It's flipped, and the person changes, and from that moment on...
Can this be, in essence, against that person's will?
No. Again, I think you have rules there. You have to allow it. Whether they get you through ego or whatever.
Yeah, I ask you this because if it's against somebody's will, then the argument for punishment, if you really believe as you believe, has got to change. But if you're saying that the person has to, in effect, make that deal and give their will or give themselves to possession or to the will or influence of the dark,
mm-hmm.
then perhaps punishment as is met out, in our everyday world, in the judicial system, is appropriate.
I think it is, and in this case, with this 15-year-old, the smile on his face, the pleasure he took,
yes,
that's evil.
It sure does seem that way,
right.
Kathleen. I don't know what other thing to put on it. I look at what happens. I hear about the smiling and the shooting, and it's so far out from any human experience, any frame of reference that any of us might have that it really does seem like evil. And you're saying it really is evil.
I really think so, because I don't think that, I mean, a 15-year-old that has seen a lot of movies and stuff with gunfire, usually if they fire something, it scares them and they come to their senses. But in this case, he stopped to reload the gun and smiled through the whole thing,
So
and
I've heard, yes.
would have taken everybody out he could have.
I have speculated for some time, because of the amount of UFO sightings, the amount of paranormal activity, which of course we monitor disproportionately on this radio program. And there's a tremendous amount of it, Kathleen, tremendous amount of it.
Wade.
That that the veil or the separation between ourselves and what is on the other side, which you and I might agree or disagree on, is breaking down or getting thinner.
It's getting so thin that children are actually seeing through it. I think they're a little closer to God, and I think they have a little more ability. They're not shut down with all of the stuff in their lives. They have a very simple lifestyle, and children are seeing demons coming through the veil. They are seeing demonic entities in spaceships. They are seeing that there is a plot. Some kids are even brought into the plan. They know what's going to happen. They know we're going to be attacked or whatever is going to take place. You have to listen to children, 3 and 4 years old, that don't lie.
A lot of people, of course, are scared by what you say. A lot of people are reactive to what you say. Mm-hmm. Here's somebody from Dallas, Guy from Dallas, who says, Kathleen is so far gone, she can't see anything about the world beyond her own small description. She's lost objectivity and judges all who do not agree with her or Father Martin.
I don't judge anybody, and I certainly don't judge anybody that disagrees with me. If I'm wrong, that would be great. I understand where that person's coming from, because this is very serious material and very hard to get across. You can hear all the cries of fear-mongering and whatever.
Oh, yes.
And to sell books. That isn't the intent. I think the truth has to be told, and we have to get it out there. And if it turns out that I'm right in a year or two, well, then so be it. You'll have at least heard of it. I don't care what you think of me. It isn't important. But what is going to happen is what's going to happen to your family. If this doesn't come down the way you think it is, what are you going to do?
You say here, prophecies predict that pictures will speak, and that newborns will talk to their parents and encourage them to follow the Antichrist.
Right. We're going to see startling miracles.
What do you mean by pictures will speak?
A lot of people have holy pictures of Jesus and Mary and saints on their walls.
Yes.
They may even have a picture of Grandma and Grandpa. And those pictures will start to talk in the end times. Von Bustow, a prophet in the 15th century, mentioned that pictures would suddenly come alive, and especially like of Jesus and Mary, that you have to follow this Antichrist. I'm not the one. I came before him, but I'm not the one. He's
Kathleen, if I had a picture of Christ on my wall and it began to talk, I would presume that it was Christ talking to me. I obviously would first probably sink to my knees in fright, like most people. But since it was the picture of Christ, I would definitely presume that was Christ talking to me.
Absolutely, and it would be very convincing, wouldn't it? And I think that's going to be the problem with the end times, because a lot of people are seeing visions. They're having dreams of Jesus that aren't really Jesus, because when they go to this particular person that is the Antichrist, and they go, oh my gosh, that's the guy in my dream, and that wasn't the Lord. They're floored. More and more people are having the dreams. More and more people think that the Lord is communicating with them, or the Virgin Mary is communicating.
Yes. In fact, I talked to somebody earlier today, a very lucid person who claims that he talks with Christ. Mm-hmm. And you would say he does not?
Oh, I wouldn't know. I would have to go through what he's hearing and what has been said to him, and whether it is validated by the fruits of how he lives his life. Sooner or later, if it's not good, that person will bear the fruit of what the vision is, good or bad.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, and it's going to get real confusing with these end times.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say. That's very confusing. I would automatically presume it was Christ talking to me. Believe me, if the picture started, you wouldn't, huh?
No, I would get the holy water out and pray to God that it was the Lord. And that's why you have to ask, if you get a vision or someone talking to you, you have to say, who do you pray to? Who is your Savior?
But, I mean, isn't that like Moses saying, baloney, and stomping out the burning bush?
I think he was so moved he could.
I guess I'm saying, what if it is God?
God would understand, because he would tell you. I mean, there would be ways. He would say that Jesus Christ is the Savior, the one and only. There are ways that heaven confirms that it's true visions instead of, the dark side.
It's good to know. Is the image, you say the image of the beast is being built. What do you mean by that?
There is a temple being built now in India that's going to be taller than the Empire or the Statue of Liberty, and it's going to be about 500 feet. It's going to be a Buddha that almost fits the description in the Book of Revelation, to the point that there's no doubt that this is going to be the genuine article to be worshipped by the year 2005. A UK firm is putting it together. It's going to be so massive, it's going to house a temple and rooms and so forth, and they have to even construct it carefully because the metal almost kind of breathes with the atmosphere.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Very scary stuff.
Now, I'd like to get your take on this. I don't know if you've seen the news in the last couple of days, but in Afghanistan, the Taliban there is blowing up. They found these large statues of Buddha.
Yes.
Gigantic, incredible statues of Buddha in Afghanistan, and they are taking dynamite and blowing them to smithereens. Under
the cause that it's false idols. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What would you say about that?
Well, they're certainly determined. I think that they believe in the one true God, and they find that any infidel representation like that should be destroyed.
But that would not be the same God that you revere, would it be?
I think there is one true God, and I think that the Muslims do believe in that one God. But I don't think that they admit to the divinity of Jesus Christ, and that's where we differ.
But that would be a chasm of difference that would doom them to eternal fire and damnation, wouldn't it?
I think it depends on the life they lead, Art. I think if they're good people, that God judges them for what they are. If they don't know that Christ is the Savior, then I think that isn't held against them.
That's pretty lenient compared to what Father Martin used to say. I used to ask him about this, and he was very stridently conservative in this area, and he...
Well, I admit, Father Martin would say, if you do not believe in Jesus Christ, you're doomed.
Right.
Absolutely, and I believe that in many instances. I think if you've never heard of Christ, you can't be held accountable. But I think in the case of denying his divinity, in the case of the Muslims who believe in the Blessed Mother as being a good woman and that Jesus was a prophet, for them not to accept him as the Lord, I think that there's an intrinsic problem with that.
Gotcha. All right, Kathleen, hold on. We're already at the bottom of the hour. Time does fly. We'll do a little more. Then we'll open the phone lines, and I'm sure there are many questions for you out there. I'm Art Bell. Back now to Kathleen Keating. And Kathleen, you're back on the air again.
Welcome back, huh?
Yeah, welcome back. Since you had that original encounter with the Antichrist, that scary, scary, scary encounter, has there been anything else?
We've had a lot of anomalous activity in the house, a lot of damage to the animals outside, things like that. No personal meeting with him. Thank God.
Good.
Very good. I wear a lot of sacramentals, and I have crucifixes up on the house and the windows. And the animals wear St. Benedict medals.
What is this about an April war?
I think we are headed for a very big war. I don't know whether it's going to, because of assassination in the Middle East or whatever, but the Israeli Defense Force is gearing up, and they admit that there will be a war. There's no turning back as far as they can see. Now,
it's going to be a Mid-East war then.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's going to involve Syria and a couple other Arab states over there, and it's going to get really ugly. And this is where we have to be careful with the fact that the Antichrist may have to negotiate a peace process, as the Bible says he will.
The Antichrist negotiates peace.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, it sure is an upside-down world, isn't it?
It is, and I think the warning that's coming, Art, is really going to change a lot of hearts of people that are too caught in the world. And I think when we mentioned that the Muslims don't believe in Jesus, I think that they're going to be told during that warning, as we all are, who the real Messiah is and what our position is with God at that moment if we should die. I mean, we're seeing earthquakes and monumental things happening, and your global superstorms are certainly coming to pass.
Mm-hmm.
And we could all go at any moment, and I think that warning is going to be a true blessing.
What does the Bible code say about Father Martin's death?
From what I saw, it looked like he may have been killed. Certainly that backs up some words that were apparently spoken by Father Martin in the hospital, that he was pushed, although he couldn't see who pushed him. But it does say that he was killed.
Where did you get the information about his being pushed?
There was a person talking about it that knew him and knew of the doctor, and that he had said something before he slipped into unconsciousness before surgery. He was in and out of consciousness. And
I had heard that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I had not heard that he had said something as incriminating, as terrible as that.
Definitely, and it made a lot of people really sad about that, because here he was, fighting the good fight, coming back from a stroke, and doing rather well, and working on his book, and to say that he'd been pushed, and when he turned around he couldn't see who it was. That just, a lot of people I know, his bodyguards, were very upset that happened.
Well, I know this, Kathleen. I know that people who claim to be, as part of Father Martin's staff,
mm-hmm.
are split into two very separate, distinct camps. Were you aware of that?
Yes.
And I've heard from the both of them.
And what did you get out of it? I mean, they're very polarized.
Extremely polarized. I'm not sure I want to talk about it.
Don't blame you.
Has the timetable, you heard me play this year in the year 2525. I guess the timetable really isn't that far out, is it?
I don't think so. The modern day prophets are saying maybe a handful of years left before we reach the Armageddon that the Bible talks about.
A handful of years.
A handful of years.
As in?
Less than 5.
In other words, 5 fingers, less than, that close.
Yeah.
That's really close.
Yeah, I pray that it lasts longer, that we can have more time, that people would wake up, but I don't know how we can. I've heard from some prophets that claim that the Blessed Mother's saying that we're due for an atomic awakening.
Well, I've had lots of people say the first use of an atomic weapon since the one in Japan,
mm-hmm.
in anger, is very close.
Yes. And we are a lot closer in this country to experiencing war firsthand and to seeing perhaps a nuke exploded in one of our cities.
You believe that will be the Chinese, don't you?
Or the Russians working together. They have gotten rather chummy of late.
There's really nothing the average person can do to prevent all of this or stop it. It's going to unfold whether we like it or not, right?
I think the degree as to how far it unfolds is up to us by how much we pray. During this election problem, a lot of prayers were offered, and from what I heard, heaven took notice of it, and things seemed to slow down. They were lightened up a little bit. It was a terrible situation for this country, and we were a lot closer to war than most people want to know. We had some enemies making some very strong overtures, and intelligence was indicating that we were going to be hit during that time of indecision.
Really?
And shad problems, and we came very close.
Now, there's something else I hadn't heard. Oh, who would have hit us?
There was perhaps a Middle Eastern faction that would have nuked us or let go biologicals, and that's a real problem, too, because we have sects all over the country that are just waiting for the word to release biological weapons on us.
I know, and I've heard fairly reliably that Iraq has 2 or more nuclear weapons. You were aware of those reports?
Yes, and I think they're valid. We're getting a lot of intelligence from government officials that are backing that up. And not only that, you've got to worry about the Chinese soldiers on the southern border of the United States who are firing at our border patrol.
I've heard rumors about that.
Not a rumor. We've done some investigation. Scott Gilbranson did a very detailed investigation and wrote about it at strategicjungle.com, he had some eyewitnesses that he's known in law enforcement for years who said that they saw the Chinese soldiers, they heard them speaking Chinese, and they were firing at them.
Of course, in the mainstream press, we have had reports of supposedly Mexicans or even the Mexican army firing on Border Patrol people.
Right.
That's what I heard.
Right, and the Chinese soldiers were dressed as Mexican army. And the intelligence that we've gathered on this is that these people are trying to probe our defenses to see when we'll fight back, if we'll fight back. And so far, we haven't. We're not shooting back at them. But there are caches of weapons down in Mexico up through the United States. There are many, many Chinese troops on the borders. It's a very serious situation. What was curious to me, Art, was the fact that Prophecy had said this for some time, and it was like, okay, well, I got to prove this. And, you know, it was kind of hard to get that information out, but with these latest shootings in the past year, my gosh, it's happening.
People are going nuts with your website down.
I know it. They're doing everything they can. I think 300,000 people hit it at once. Literally. That's
yes, no, I understand, Kathleen. We have a very, very large pipe, 100 megabit pipe, if you can believe that, for our website. But every other guest website we put up crashes because of the immediate load that's slammed into it. So people will be able to get in there in the next few days. But during the program tonight, folks, you may not make it. Let's face facts. But up there is the name of the Antichrist and the organization that is forwarding the Antichrist, according to Kathleen.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And according to Father Martin. And 500 visionaries who don't talk to one another have come to the same conclusion.
And Father Martin told you this before he passed away?
I have it in writing.
From Father Martin?
From Father Martin.
Oh, my.
I sent him my research, and he said that if we could get this information out, it would be the source of great conversions. And he knew who the AC was, and we went from there.
So all of this is to unfold in a handful of years,
mm-hmm.
meaning 5 or less.
Right.
And what will, I mean, already, as you pointed out, we're having earthquakes, we're having increasingly horrible weather. Things are changing. But as it unfolds even further, where does it go from here?
I think we're going to see all-out war in the United States. Certainly the Middle East war, I believe, will probably happen this spring. It's going to be a very shaky time. This thing with Dick Cheney's heart isn't good, and I think you could probably see perhaps Colin Powell being put in as vice president. He has some interesting ties that perhaps may not be in our best interests. And it's troublesome. And I had nothing against Colin Powell. I thought he was a very interesting, admirable person. But the research seems to point that, you know, it could be a New World Order problem.
You believe this New World Order will manifest itself before these chastisements get really serious? I
think before the warning, we're going to see that the UN is going to make overtures. We're already under international law right now. And the International Court has been established. I think that we're going to see terrible devastation in the United States. And I think that the world is going to be hurled into revolutions, and that's when the UN is going to crack down on this one world, drop the barrier stuff. We're all going to get along.
You know, I'm probably doomed, Kathleen, because I believe a lot of things that parallel what you say is going to happen. I absolutely believe them. I follow them. I talk about them. But I have this very difficult time making the leap of faith, I think that was the name of a movie, that's necessary to believe that this is all unfolding biblical prophecy.
I think it's hard for anybody to fathom. You can read about it for years, Art, and do the research, and you think, well, boy, this sounds really like something terrible. We can't see this. It can't be coming. And we're right in the middle of it. It's not bad yet, but I think that people are going to have trouble fathoming it, and that's where the warning is going to help us. I think that's going to be the initial leap of faith for millions.
It's going to have to be something awfully convincing, Kathleen,
it will be.
Because we live in a world where horrible things happen, absolutely horrible things happen. And we've grown, I don't know, cynical.
Well, and complacent, we just turn it off if we don't like the news. We just go do something else.
Even when it comes down to a 15-year-old shooting up classmates in school, we go, oh, that's terrible, and, on to whatever's next. It does not affect us profoundly.
No, but we will be affected soon, and I think that that could be a blessing from heaven.
What could be so big, so convincing, Kathleen, that it would serve as a warning to anybody really watching? Or
well, what if we woke up one morning and we turn on CNN and New York City's gone?
Oh, that would go a long way.
I think that would be a first step for a lot of people to think that maybe they ought to get right with God. But that won't be the end of it. And as you and I well know, with what Father Martin intimated, that's just the beginning.
Oh, yes. If we were to wake up and Manhattan was virtually gone,
and all the news, all the media stuff was taken out, we're going to have some problems.
Gee, it'd be all that was left would be CNN down in Atlanta.
Yeah, and what if that goes? I doubt that it will, but I mean, what if it, if we did lose communication? What if we had such a killer earthquake that they're anticipating that comes right down the middle of the country, that trucking is stopped, communication lines are down, the internet's gone? What would we do?
I don't know. If we lost the internet, that really would be the end for me.
Well, yeah, for a lot of people as well. Although I think the end of the world's come to my sight tonight.
No, just a great chastisement.
Yeah, apparently. Apparently.
All right, I would like to begin to take some calls. How about that? Shall we?
Sure.
All right. Expect anything, I'm telling you.
Bet.
First-time caller line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Hi.
Gee, you even have greater hum than Kathleen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I could switch the phone.
If you're able to, please do.
Okay. Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay, this must be hum night. Yes, we'll wait while he switches the phone and see if...
I feel better now.
Yeah, his hum is 5 times yours.
Yeah.
Okay, hello?
Oh,
Wow.
that's so much better. Where are you?
I am in St. Francis, Wisconsin.
All right.
My name is Jonathan.
Jonathan, do you have a question for Kathleen?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. My question is, if the Antichrist is basically targeting Christians, then where am I left? I am basically an avid anti-Catholic, but at the same time, I in no way basically care for my life. So if the Antichrist were to come to me saying, I have a way to better your life, I would turn him down on numerous occasions.
Why?
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, life is just kind of a short span in the greater picture, and I'm just kind of waiting for whatever's on the other side, whatever's next. And
so you loosely believe it would be a bad idea to make a deal?
I actually avidly believe that it would be a bad idea to make a deal with the Antichrist. I mean, if it's...
Well, then explain your first statement. You said you're actively or avidly anti-Catholic. Why?
Well, I have basically a religion that, I mean, I kind of... It's very hard to explain. It's kind of complex. It's the only thing that I basically have basics, like the only thing that actually is proven fact to me. And it's got to do basically with mathematics and all sorts of things, but I feel it actually explains the world.
So you have your own religion?
Pretty much. I mean, it's the only thing that has any basis as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
all right, well, I wouldn't argue with you. I mean, I never argue with people's faith. Kathleen, there's a fellow with his own religion based on mathematics and some other stuff that would take too long to explain.
Well, a lot of people have that. I think that the one thing, we all eat, and I think the Antichrist is going to get to us in our stomachs first by withholding food. Food's going to be a problem anyway with the weather and with what's coming. And I think that that's certainly going to be a tool. We're looking at mad cow disease and all sorts of horrible things.
Well, that's true. There are many things that now threaten our food supply, and so you see widespread hunger. And if somebody would come along and offer you a burger today for your soul on Tuesday,
More or less, that's how it's going to work, although it probably won't be a burger, but...
well, yeah, I know, I'm being silly, but...
no, I mean, with the mad cow stuff being a problem, but...
Oh, that's right, it wouldn't be a soy burger.
Soy burger or whatever, or just basic nutrition and rice.
Anything at all if you're hungry, actually.
Yeah, water and rice would look pretty good in a few years.
All right. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Hi there. I'm calling from London, Ontario, Canada.
Yes, sir.
I have to sort of take issue with books by Michael Drosnin, like the Bible Code, which, given the plight of the Jewish people, it's almost an insult that he would choose to speak to someone or anyone in such an ambiguous fashion. That's not a way a child can understand. I can't take that book seriously, and if you look for patterns, you'll find them. You'll find them everywhere. And if pictures of Jesus start talking to you, well, why would you have an idol up, for one thing? Isn't that idolatrous? A picture of Jesus? We don't even know what Jesus looked like.
Well, we do know what Jesus looked like in the Veil of Veronica, where his face was wiped before he was crucified. And that image is in the Vatican, so we do have some idea what he looks like. And
but we can't really take...
No, we can't guarantee what he looks like. We have an artist's interpretation, and if it's a matter of faith that he is the Son of God, then people that believe that do not feel that's idolatry.
Well, it's hard to take anything the Vatican says seriously. I mean, this is a church that used to sell indulgences. You know, you could buy your way out of doing time. How can you take really anything that comes out of there seriously?
That's a good point, Kathleen.
It is a good point, and the selling of indulgences, you know, there are a lot of things that people don't understand, or, you know, why would they do that? Certainly we've seen a lot of strange things coming out of the Vatican, and I think we have to be very careful with what we hear coming out of there anymore.
You may recall, sir, that Father Martin said there was actual, real evil within the Vatican, that the devil was in the Vatican, remember?
Yes, and I can, you know, I don't like that because Malachi treats it as fiction. He writes a book and veils what appear to be atrocities involving possibly the sacrifice of infants.
Yeah, and do you know why he wrote it that way? Because he was convinced that he would be killed if he didn't. And you know what? It may be that he was killed. Has that occurred to you?
No.
He
passed away peacefully as far as I can tell.
As far as you were told. All right. Thank you very much. We've got a break here at the top of the hour. Good morning, everybody. Kathleen Keating is my guest, and she has named the Antichrist. It's on her website, but her website is not up. She's also named the organization that represents the Antichrist, or I guess he represents them. No, actually, I guess they'd represent him, wouldn't they? At any rate, I'm not allowing her to name the Antichrist here on the air, nor that organization. However, that information is on her website, which went down like a lead balloon the moment we mentioned it. So, yes, you can attribute it to a lot of traffic, or... Okay, we're going to stay heavily on the phones now, and it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be obviously very, very controversial. Kathleen Keating is my guest. Kathleen? Your book, Kathleen, is still available, is it not?
It is. We've got people standing by tonight during the show. And,
oh, you do?
Tonight and until 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and then 9 to 9 every day.
All right. Now, before we give out the number, let me ask you this. Kathleen, for people who order tonight, this quagmire involving the books, the lost UPS things, all the rest of it, if they order tonight, are they going to get their book, and if so, when?
It's not with Picasso, and they should have it within 3 to 4 weeks. It's with Counting Coup Press, and they won't have the problem.
Okay.
It's guaranteed, or the book's free.
Guaranteed, or the book's free, huh?
Yeah. They should have it within 3 to 4 weeks, God willing.
All right, and that number is?
1-866-394-2665, or 1-866-394-BOOK, if that's easier.
1-866-394-2665. 2665.
Or you can order from the website if it ever comes back up, or you can...
if it ever comes back up.
Well, I've taken out city grids before, too, or with the name of this guy. So.
Have you?
Yeah.
All right, well...
Well, I didn't. Somebody did.
You know, let me put it this way. As I told the audience and you earlier, I had the opportunity and I still may. I think the offer is open because it's coming shortly. To have this person that you believe is the Antichrist on my program. They made that official offer to me, and by the way, it came from London.
Ooh, West End, no doubt.
So here's why I'm hesitant. Here's why I don't want you to give the name and the organization.
Okay.
Because some Christian in God's name, no doubt, once they know who it is, will attempt to kill this person. Now, one might suggest, well, if it's really the Antichrist, they're sure not going to be able to kill him, are they? But if perchance it's not, then we propagated a murder, and that scares me a little bit.
True. And there have been people that have tried to get to him. I know that.
Right. Exactly right. So that's why I'm not letting the name out on the air. And I think if you were in my position, folks, you might not either. It is on her website. Yes, it is crashed big time. The moment we mentioned it, it went down. So it'll probably be back up in the next few days. And if you want to know, you can check her website. We'll continue to have a link up there. All right. First time caller line. You are on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, my name is Marble. I'm calling from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Welcome.
Thank you. First of all, I want to say that Kathleen's a very brave woman.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think so too. I've seen the movies. As I said earlier, people like Kathleen end up with 2x4s through them usually, or giant church steeple things falling on them and piercing them into the ground.
Yeah. Anyway, my question is the Antichrist obviously is out for Christians.
And Jews. Don't forget the Jews.
Right. Well, yeah. Okay, but my thing is how could he trap a Christian? What's a good miracle he could pull off to...
Well, they're all looking for Jesus' second coming, and I guess by having this person show up coming out of thin air at church meetings and religious groups and stuff, healing the sick and doing all sorts of wonderful miracles, people might tend to believe he is the Messiah. He certainly has the capability of doing that. He's already healed thousands of people.
Oh, because see, my belief that from reading the Bible is that if they say that Jesus is here or Jesus is there, you're not to believe it, that when Jesus comes again, all will see him.
That's right, but most people forget that, and if we pay close attention to the Bible and read it more often, we would know who the real Messiah was. I agree with you.
So the talking picture idea, that would be, it would not be Christ. It would not be God.
No, because the real miracles from heaven will be less and less. There will be a giant wave of miracles at the miracle that's coming after the warning, but by and large, I mean, there's still hope for miracles from the Lord, but we're going to see more and more false miracles, so it's going to be very hard to think that they're from heaven.
Well, if I knew somebody, say a small child who was in the final stages of incurable cancer, and a man representing himself to be our Savior touched this child, and the cancer was immediately cured. I really hate to say this, Kathleen.
It would seem worth it, wouldn't it, Art? But what if that...
it would seem real to me.
Right.
In other words, I'm a believe it, touch it, see it kind of guy.
Right.
I have trouble with religion, period, Kathleen. That's the truth. And it's just because I can't muster together this leap of faith it takes to believe all of this. I just can't do it. Even though I see the signs right in front of me, Kathleen, even though I see the weather deteriorating, I see earthquakes increasing, I see children killing children, I see all of these signs that I believe are leading to something, I can't make that leap of faith to believe that it's leading to everything you're describing. I just can't do it.
I think that you'll reach a moment that you can, one way or the other, Art, you'll know. And until that time...
Yeah, but see, that's why I said, if I saw a
miracle, you'd go for it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. A lot of people will.
All right. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Hi, Art. A belated welcome back.
Thank you.
One quick thing before I ask Kathleen something. It's so nice talking to you. Do you have an anonymous FTP site to where I could upload you some music? Or maybe off the air, is there any chance I could get that from you? Or do you know what I'm talking about?
My name is Art Napster?
No.
No,
It's some.
I don't have an anonymous FTP site. No.
Okay.
I have email.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll maybe email you something.
All right.
Kathleen.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get on your site tonight.
You and a few thousand.
I know.
others.
I've been listening the whole time. So what I did is I did some faithful internet searching.
Mm-hmm.
And
Don't give the name.
I'm not going to give the name.
Thank you.
But and I'll respect you for that, but I have a real major problem with that. And I'm not going to give the name. I can't give the name because I'm really not even sure if when I did my searching that this is the person or this is the organization. So without giving the name, let me ask you a couple of questions to see if I'm on the right path.
Okay.
This Antichrist, is there an English person that is speaking for him?
How do you want me to answer that, Art?
Without a name?
Well, without a name, sure.
I wouldn't say he's English. I would say he's from Great Britain.
He's from
but
Great
I wouldn't
Britain.
say he's English.
Okay. And
So you're on the right track, obviously.
Yeah.
let me ask you one more question just to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
Is this Antichrist organization tied into what would my wording be? The healing of the earth.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. You're on the right track, obviously.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. In other words, there will be miracles. There will be this person will appear to us to be a savior.
Mm-hmm. And to some people, he's their worst nightmare. He gets into their dreams, the people that have visited his website.
Savior of the earth, savior of people, worker of miracles.
Yeah, the peacemaker.
Yes.
The food supplier.
Yes.
Head of the UFO guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
East of the Rockies, you are on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello. Hello there. Going once. Going twice. Gone. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
Hi. I'm calling from Fernley.
From
Nevada.
where? Oh, Nevada. All right.
My question is, doesn't the Antichrist come to power after the rapture?
That's a good question. I think he comes right near the rapture. I think the rapture is going to take place, and then you're going to see him full force. But he will be visible rather soon.
Yeah.
You know, Art's already had the overtures.
Because
So-
it would make sense him being able to come to power if the rapture came and the people who weren't truly kind of caught in the middle.
Well, it's going
follow
to
him.
He's going to have to tell everybody why all those people disappeared.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be the great UFO kidnapping scenario. But,
Yeah.
he is going to talk about it. Yeah.
And then my last question is, what is going to be happening in America in this past year? Is there anything worth substance?
Well, I think that we're going to see a lot more calamities, probably worse than what Seattle experienced, and probably the death toll rising through various weather problems and perhaps terrorism.
Well, that's scary stuff. Thank you. You answered my question.
All right. Onward. First time caller line. You're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Hello. My name is Barry. My location is Palm Springs. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
Kathleen, the basic question I have is, what is your conception of God?
I think God had no beginning and he has no end. He is all powerful. He has created everything that you and I experience.
Can he be seen?
Pardon me?
Can he be seen?
His
Can you
son
see
can
him?
be seen. He cannot be seen.
So he's an invisible God. Is he omnipotent in every place?
Yes.
Okay. Given that and those ideas that you have, how can you possibly believe in a God which would take the form of a man and can be seen?
Because, as Jesus would say, those who have seen me have seen the Father. He was giving us perhaps a tangible to hold on to. It's very hard in a finite world to understand the infinite.
If God did that once before, caller, why not again?
We don't know that he did that once before. That is somebody's faith who is taking that by faith. I speak Hebrew, and I read Hebrew. and I am Jewish, and I've been to Israel looking for Jesus myself. And the name of God in Hebrew is basically 3 letters. It's a Yud, Hey, and a Vav, and it grammatically stands for everything that happened in the past, everything that will happen in the future.
But you went to Israel. You didn't find him, right?
I didn't find Jesus.
Right. You didn't find Jesus. So nobody else has either yet.
No, nobody else has found Jesus, or God is a no, to my conception, is a no thing, has no name. Only men name things. We name things. We name the animals. We name each other. We name plants. We even have a name.
He named himself. He called himself I Am.
I am the am. I am what I am. That's what Moses says. You know, it says in the Bible. We don't even, we call him a he. It's to me, the conception of God is beyond their comprehension. There God is no thing. End of R. He's something which has no name. Only we name things. And
so then God is our invention? Is that your position?
My position is that it's beyond our conception. The Jesus thing is our invention. Our conception of what a God is our invention.
Okay, so basically the whole thing is our invention.
Exactly.
Okay.
Except for the creation of the universe, there must be some kind of divine intelligence, some divine engineer, which has engineered this whole thing.
Well, that's a pretty big but.
Yeah.
That's a real big but.
Yeah, and you've got to think real deeply about it, and not just, go into this Bible babble situation about Jesus did this, and he died, and he came back to life, and the Virgin Mary, which you have to accept.
Bible babble. So you think that it's all constructed by man to create fear and control and so forth, right?
Hey, that's pretty close there.
Yeah, I figured.
But there are some good things like the 10 Commandments and how to treat your neighbor.
Well, do you think the 10 Commandments came from God? Or do you think the 10 Commandments came from somebody who scribbled them down and trotted them down a mountain?
Well, maybe they were what you call some things inspired. Inspired by the I am, inspired by the unseen, and they were written down by man.
All right. Well, I think your position is clear. Kathleen, what do you say about that?
I think the further that we've gotten away from God, the less intimately we know him. And so the way Moses experienced him is not the way we do now because we're too far from him to hear him or to see him in his light. There are visionaries that have experienced him in his totality, but they've fainted from the magnificence of him.
I've actually heard that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wildcard line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Hi. All right.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And Kathleen, hi.
Hi.
I have a question about, have you ever read the book Beautiful Side of Evil from Johanna Michelson?
No.
Okay, well, it goes along with what you're discussing earlier about how people who think they see Christ and they don't. That's basically what the book's about, where Satan appears to these people, and it's such a beautiful thing. The person that's confronting them, they think it's Jesus.
Well, he appears as the angel of light, doesn't he? And
right, exactly.
Right.
And this book is pretty interesting on that.
No, I can imagine.
Beautiful Side of Evil. It's a really good book. And I really appreciate this show. It's really good. And first time I heard you, I was hooked. So I really enjoy this. And thank you much.
All right. Thank you very much, caller. Take care. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Yeah, I heard you say before that after this big thing goes down, that Jesus Christ will come down and give his little word or whatever. What I'm trying to get at is, why would they let all this stuff happen? Why wouldn't God, if he's so powerful, come down right now and make everything right instead of waiting for this whole disaster to happen? Then do something about it.
Well, I think we're seeing the totality of our sins, and we're paying for our sins and what's happening. He will stop it at the end. Israel will still prevail. He will come down and throw the Antichrist into hell. But we have to pay for some things. We have to pay for all of the crimes that we're committing right now.
So are you saying that God created everything?
God created everything, but evil is of its own mind, and evil is what gets into the hearts of men and changes them.
Well, then God gave the potential for evil to exist, though, right?
Only, not as far as sin is concerned, but as far as the power to do bad things.
So then there's two big guys in charge of all this thing, right?
Well, you've got the good and the bad and the ugly. It's two forces, and that's what we're seeing. They're squaring off. And the whole target are the souls on earth.
So God's just going to sit back, wait for all this evil to happen, and he's going to come down and say, this is the way you do it. Everybody get on my track, and let's do it. Why doesn't he just do that now? It makes no sense.
I understand the frustration of this caller.
It's very frustrating.
In other words, why would all of this torture be laid out for mankind? Why have this planned period of time where we'll sin and then we will be tortured and punished for what we have done, and these chastisements will come, and it just doesn't seem like a God that a lot of people envision. Of course, that is maybe our problem.
Well, no, you make a very good point, and I think what it is, all these events are designed to get us on our knees to turn back to God. Right now, we're not listening, we're not paying attention to Him, and we're not doing what we should be doing.
Yeah, but could God blame us for not believing in Him? We really have no proof at all. We have more proof that Frankenstein exists than Jesus Christ. How can He blame us for not believing in Him?
Well, I can understand your point, and I think that through the warning, we're all going to be made abundantly clear that He exists. There will be no more excuses, and that's the real gift from God in the coming days, and it won't be too much longer before that happens, that we will all know who He is, who Jesus is, and where we stand in the thick of it, whether we're going to go to hell or we're going to go to heaven. We'll know at that particular moment in time, all of us at the same time on earth.
But when man was first created, why wasn't all this stuff laid out to start with?
It was, but the further that Adam and Eve got away from God, the less they paid attention to God, and that was the problem. And then evil begets evil, and it goes on and on. It's a never-ending cycle.
Caller, it requires faith. That's a big word, faith. And it don't come easy. No. All right, hold it right there. Kathleen Keating is my guest, and we'll have more for her coming right up. I know it's kind of frustrating. The whole concept is frustrating, but it's a-coming. It certainly is. And Kathleen Keating is here, and I know a lot of you are very frustrated in a lot of ways. So we'll just try to let you pour it out on the lines. Grab one of those phone numbers and give us a call. We'll be right back with Kathleen. Oh, now this is really strange. I'm getting a lot of messages on Fast Blast, not a lot, a few, saying that they're through to the website and have the information. Now, I have a really, really good provider here at the house, a big pipe, as it were, and my website has a giant pipe, and I can't get through to Kathleen's site. As a matter of fact, the message I'm getting is the document contained no data. Try again later, or contact the server's administrator. That's what I get when I try to go to Kathleen's site. So if some people are getting through, and some people are getting the information, how could it possibly be that the majority of us are not? That is weird, Kathleen.
Very strange, but that happens a lot. It really does.
Well,
keep trying, folks. It'll open up sooner or later.
I guess that's right. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Kathleen, I don't believe in Jesus Christ at all. And as a matter of fact, I was raised in a religious home. And I, over the years, have developed, well, I did a lot of study also in religions, but I've developed a thing with my inner being where it talks to me. And it tells me that there's earth changes that are coming, but it also tells me that I don't have to worry about them, that I follow my feelings, and nothing bad can happen to me. Right now, my feelings have led me into Europe. I live in Germany now. I'm American. I don't live in America no more because I just don't feel safe there. Would you say that my feelings are right on this?
I know a lot of people that don't feel safe here with what's coming, and people that know what's coming are very uncomfortable with it.
Well, I know my inner being tells me that when this thing happens for about a year, there's going to be total chaos worldwide. And I really do believe that this stuff's going to happen. I mean, we have the mad cow disease over here. We have...
we could go on. Yes, all the signs are there. I agree with you. But whether or not it means what Kathleen says it means, I haven't grasped. I just can't grasp that yet.
I understand that, but like I said, my inner being says that as long as we trust our feelings, because it tells me that there's only two of them, that which feels good and that which doesn't, and always go after that which feels best. When I find myself in a situation where I don't feel good, I get out of it because I'm always trying to feel good. And I guess in the Bible, Christ says, seek joy. And that would be a message that I could give: is always seek joy.
As long as that doesn't go into seeking pleasure, because I think there's a real fine line there. And when we start going to that because it feels good, I think we run a very big risk to losing our souls. I think there's common sense inside that says, well, this is a good thing or this is a bad thing.
I've always complained that most pleasurable things in life are bad for you, or at least we're told they are. The things that give us pleasure, the little stupid things, whether it's having a drink at night when you get home from work, or it's smoking cigarettes, or it's chasing after the women, or whatever it is that really is pleasurable, is not good for us or our souls.
I think everything in moderation. I mean, if you're married, chasing women isn't the thing to do. But I think if you smoke a little, that's okay. If you drink a little, that's okay. The Bible says everything in moderation.
Well, a little earlier we had a call from a gentleman, you may recall, who suggested that the church at one time allowed you to buy exceptions. In other words, you could have an indulgence of some sort as long as you paid a certain amount of coin.
Well, I've not been a follower of that. I'm not sure, whether it was just simply to raise money. I don't think that can be done. I think you can say prayers and get indulgences. You don't need to pay for them.
Other Catholics believe that you can indulge during the week and then repent upon Sunday when you confess, and that you walk away clean.
What if you die on Wednesday?
Well, there's that. But I mean, you still will have eliminated on all the previous Sundays all the previous bad things that you thought you could get away with during the week.
You're going to pay for it in purgatory. I mean, I know that's a big topic that people don't believe in it, but I do believe in purgatory, and I think that you may be able to confess that on Saturday and go to Mass on Sunday, but I think ultimately you're going to have to pay some time because your soul is stained from those indulgences, overindulgence.
What do you think purgatory is?
I think it is a learning process that gets us to get away from our earthly attachments, whether it's jewelry, money, food, sexual forays, or whatever. I think that it's designed to cleanse us of our final attachments.
So in purgatory, there would be none of that stuff?
No. And we would come to the realization that they weren't important on earth, and the whys of it.
And would we always rise from purgatory to heaven, or would that be a place where we...
You don't stay in purgatory forever. You stay until your soul is ready to see God.
Yes, but I'm asking, do all rise from purgatory, or are those who don't make it?
There are people that don't make it into purgatory, and certainly people we've heard...
No. In other words, do we all graduate to a higher level from purgatory?
Yes. Keep moving up until you move out.
So
you never move down. If you made purgatory...
it's like summer school or something.
Well, yeah, on a real hot day with no air conditioning.
Oh, God. A wild card line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
Hi, good morning, Kathleen.
Hi.
Excuse me. It's the speed of these events that are happening is what really captures me. And sometimes the underreporting, or when it's reported in such small little sound bites that people can't put together. Because my question to you is this: you mentioned the Russians and the Chinese in the first hour, and the speed since within the last 2 years, how they've forged their strategic alliance together, pulling their, which is about 100,000 or hundreds of thousands of troops from their borders, and of course all the other alliances they've made with each other. And then you also mentioned Israel, and within the last few hours, and as we're speaking right now, Israel has moved their tanks into what they call the A areas, which are the total Palestinian occupied areas. So that place is ready to go. Now, there's a little story here, and I'll wrap this up quick. It started a couple days ago on Kosovo-Macedonian borders, little insurgents by the Albanians there. And it was really nothing, a couple blurbs. But as I'm reading right now, and this happened just a few hours ago, NATO sending their U.S. troops to Kosovo clash, is the title of the article in the Washington Times. So my question is this to you. Things can be happening in a couple of weeks. I think the time, I don't think people realize how short the time is, because if Israel goes, the Arabs go, we go into Iraq, we get tied down in the Mid-East. We also get tied down on the worst place on this planet to fight a war. We have 40,000 troops in that Kosovo area, which is nothing but mountains. they're tied down. And if China makes a move on all this happening simultaneously, and I believe that this is all planned, and this could be happening in a couple of weeks. What do you think about that scenario?
I think you're right. I think that we're going to see us getting sucker punched into Taiwan for sure. And while we're distracted,
yes,
we have the Chinese troops on our borders.
And and like I say, we have our NATO troops tied down in Kosovo and the Mideast. We have actually a war on 3 fronts, and I haven't even, you haven't even mentioned the North Koreans making their move to south. It could all happen.
Oh, it could, and they can reach us. They can reach Los Angeles with their missiles. So
I just wanted to get your opinion. God bless you. I think you're doing a good job.
All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the call, sir. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, Art.
Hi.
Hi, this is Bill from West Hartford, Connecticut. I am an atheist, a rational atheist. Let me bring this down to logic and reason and science. Now, Art, instead of saying God, G-O-D, as a supposed intelligence creating all this, there's another intelligence out there that you and I would agree as a studier of UFOs. That's ETs. Now, what I'm trying to lead to is Michio Kaku talked about type 1, type 2, type 3, et cetera, civilizations.
Yes.
A type 2 or 3 or 4 would have the energy, the power to control the planet. Now, bear with me what I'm trying to say. It has to do with ETs type 2 or 3 or 4 who may be controlling the earth and our weather. Let me explain. First of all, in the Bible, Genesis is wrong, where it says, in the beginning, God, et cetera, et cetera. We know the Big Bang Theory from astronomy. I am an amateur astronomer. You know, the beginnings, as opposed to Genesis, does not tie in with cosmology and astronomy. Number 2, evolution is correct. Evolution, which your guest...
Bill.
Yes. I'm trying to say...
Slow down.
Okay, I'm trying to say...
Slow down. Bill. Slow down.
I'm trying to say that modern-day science shows that the biblical God is wrong. Therefore, if there were an intelligence that inspired people years ago, maybe it's ET extraterrestrials, and this is an evolutionary test, and instead of people being raptured up, they're captured into UFOs as specimens if we have a nuclear war. What I'm trying to say is the ETs are seeing this as an evolutionary test. If we can make
it... You're speeding up again. I'm going to take it for you from there. Kathleen, is it possible... that God, we'll use that word so everybody understands what we're talking about, the Creator, created others as well as ourselves?
I think they're out there, whether the ETs are demons or not. I think they were created by God. I think that they were not demons to begin with, or what appears to be extraterrestrials. I think that we have to accept the fact that there may be different things out there that we don't know about, but as far as man itself, I think that's it. But I think someone created the ETs that we're seeing, and I think that's God.
Well, why would it not be reasonable, if there are others, if there are ETs, that at some point in our evolution, I guess I shouldn't use that word with you, at some point in our development,
well, we don't
there
see monkeys falling.
There was intervention.
Yeah, and there was intervention with us.
But that intervention may have been from other creations. Why is that not outside the realm?
Well, I think that we're going to see that that's an improbability. I think we're going to have it browbeaten that maybe the ETs, did intervene, and we're going to hear a lot about it. But the people that have really studied the ETs, that have had up close and personal contact with them, have a whole different opinion of them, Art. Not all of them get enlightenment, or they channel through and hear about these great and glorious plans that they have for man and how they help us out.
I know.
We're talking some serious...
I know. I tend to agree with those who think that they may be as negative, or maybe completely negative and not positive at all, not fuzzy little beings at all. Mm-hmm. David Jacobs wrote a book called The Threat, which kind of backs that up. But that automatically does not make them devils or representatives of Lucifer or anything else. It may make them simply creations as we are creations, and we could have been tampered with. I mean, to me, that is inside the realm of possibility.
Well, I think they're tampering with us now. I think they've tampered with us from the beginning. The giants in the beginning of time have taken to the skies, and more or less the ETs now that we're seeing. So I think there's a history of it, not only in science, but in the Bible. Mm-hmm. The Bible confirms their existence.
All right. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Hi, Art. This is George, and I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Hi, George.
So I kind of get confused about east and west of the Rockies.
You're west of the Rockies, or on that line anyway.
Yeah, well, in theory. Actually, I live right at the base of a 14,000-foot mountain.
Well, the phone company is not precise in their cutting of the east and the west of the Rockies. They're close, but not precise.
How true, how true. Anyway, I think I have a little bit of a comment for you that might help you, and then I have a question for Kathleen very quick. I'm a nuclear engineer by trade, and I ran into some of the same kind of problems about show me and God can't exist. Maybe it's because of that Catholic upbringing. But as it turns out, what I found out in my studies of subatomic physics is that the universe is pretty much made of only two things, nothing and energy. Okay, matter does not exist in any way, shape, or form. And if you look at it from that point of view, then we could actually say that when God said he created man in his image, he literally meant that we're in his image. We're part of his creation. He thought us into being. The act of creation being thought, which is a use of energy, right?
Okay.
With me?
Yes, I think.
Okay. This being the case, basically what that says is that mankind and all that we see and all that is just energy. And I don't believe in the devil. So I don't believe that there's some great conflict going on between a good and a bad. I don't believe
you don't look around our world right now and you don't see that conflict everywhere.
Well, I see conflict everywhere, sure. I don't think
and you do believe in God, right?
Right.
Then why do you not imagine the opposite? Since there are opposites to almost everything in the world right now, why wouldn't there be an opposite to God?
Well, I'm not so sure that I understand evil well enough and good well enough to be able to define them.
Okay, how do you explain it? What is it when a 15-year-old walks into a school, smiles, and starts killing people?
That's not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all.
Right, and I can understand that. Does that mean that he was somehow influenced by something, by some spiritual external force that made him do that?
Well, see, that's where I start bending. Isn't it reasonable to presume that as one of the major possibilities?
No more than it is reasonable to assume that a record album made him do it, or a certain kind of music made him do it. A lot of people have a lot of trouble with that explanation. You know, that it's video games or it's TV or it's being left with a daycare center instead of mom and dad. A lot of people have a problem with that because most people come up just fine, being latchkey kids or whatever. This is so far removed, walking in and just killing people. It's so far removed from the norm that it seems to me it demands that you at least, and I don't mean to be making these arguments for you, Kathleen, but it seems to me that you have to include that as one great possibility for those actions.
Well, you do. I mean, there are positive forces and there are negative forces and neutral forces. And sometimes, like today, the negative forces spin out of control and that electron or neutron or whatever, they just spin off and things happen. And I think that positive energy is fighting negative energy right now just to stay balanced.
Okay. Well,
all right, caller.
Anyway, the question I have for Kathleen, I don't know if that helped you or not. What I did is combined physics and something called the Kabbalah. And if you look at the literal Kabbalah and subatomic particle physics, you'll find that there's a correlation, and you might find that interesting to look into. Kathleen, the question I have for you is about the new Israeli government.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Al Sharon and his new cabinet, or whatever they call themselves over there, are going to rebuild the Temple of David? I recently noted that they're now building moats, like around Jericho, and things like that. It looks like they're heading towards maybe wanting to rebuild the temple.
I think that's definitely going to happen, and I think whether Sharon does it or somebody else, they're going to rebuild it. They're ready for it.
Kathleen, I always give my guests in this last hour an opportunity to bail out and get a little bit of sleep or go on. That's up to you.
Oh, I'd love to go on, Art.
You'd love to go on. All right.
Sure. Thank you.
Then go on. You shall. Your book, The Final Warning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is available now. We've got a telephone number, and your book really, I guess, is a blueprint for the final days. Is that a fair way to put it?
It is a good description.
It will describe exactly what will occur in the final days?
Right. With very few surprises. It should uncover a lot for people.
That's pretty heavy-duty information, folks. There have been a lot of odd occurrences around this book, unbelievable occurrences around this book, but you can get a copy. Believe us, it's set up now so you can get a copy. The number to call is 1-866-394-2665. Let me give that again, because I know a lot of people are going to send me emails. I didn't get the number. So write the number down now, please. 866-394-2665. It's called The Final Warning by Kathleen Keating. And you maintain, Kathleen, there are people, even at this hour, awake, taking orders and calls.
Absolutely. And through to 9 o'clock tomorrow night, they'll be steady taking phone calls. And it'll be 9 to 9 until the orders stop coming in.
All right. Good enough. Kathleen, hold on. Stay right there. We're going to do one more hour, and there's certainly no shortage of calls. It's absolutely going berserk in here. And you might try to make it to her website, too, through ours. Keep checking. It will eventually get back up on her website, the name of the Antichrist and who he works for. I'm Art Bell. I wonder if we woke up in the morning and we found New York under, say, I don't know, 6 feet of snow, if that would be the same thing. No? Probably not. She said New York would actually disappear. Back now to Kathleen Keating. That noise seems appropriate for so many programs, and this one especially. Kathleen, if you're ready, we'll take some more calls.
You bet.
All right, here they come. First-time caller line. You're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have a sense of humor. I believe the Pope is the Antichrist. Jeremiah was a bullfrog, and John Hinckley is an imp or Santa's helper.
Santa's helper.
I'm a rocket scientist. I believe I invented the revelations, and I hid the revelations in a bush.
Okay.
Straighten me out.
Either you need to
straighten me out.
Yeah. Well, no, you need to straighten yourself out here. Your jokes need to get better, or you need to get serious.
All right.
That's all right. Well, you're welcome. That was it. I guess just a few bad jokes. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
Hi, Art.
Hello.
Glad to have you back.
Thank you.
My name is Marlene, and I'm listening to you over KFIV in Modesto, California.
Good.
Last year, I don't know if you remember, I sent you a red booklet on the 3 days of darkness.
You know, I do kind of remember that.
Kind of remember?
Yes.
That came from me. And I finally stayed awake to listen to Kathleen Keating. I always fell asleep.
Oh.
My question, I have a couple for you, Art, but I also have a couple for her.
Sure.
I wanted to know what kind of damage to her animals she had since if they were wearing medals.
I'm sorry?
She said that she, initially when the show first started, she said that there was some kind of damage done to her animals.
Kathleen?
We had animals killed, and I was remiss in not having St. Benedict medals on them. We have a little problem with the horses because we haven't found a way to keep them on without causing a problem catching in fences. But we're going to braid them in to their manes. But our horses did experience some problems. We had a foal that got caught in a fence rather badly. And, you know, other than animals being killed, that's what's been happening.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, I have 3 rescue dogs and 8 cats, and I'm thinking of all the medals I'm going to have to buy. Also, does your book mention who the Antichrist is?
You get a broad enough clue that you would know who it is, yes.
Okay.
I don't mention him by name in the book, but I do on the website.
Okay, and I have to go through your website, Art, to get to her website?
Well, no, you don't have to, but it'll probably be equally difficult doing it either way. If you go to my website, just go to today's guest info, and, you know, the link will be right there.
Okay, I don't have my own computer, so I have to figure out how to do this. Art, I heard over the news a few days ago something is going on outside of California City. Have you heard anything about that?
What do you mean by something? No.
Well, somebody is channeling somebody over there. I mean, I kind of just got just a little bit of it, and I mean, something is going on, quote, outside, unquote, California City.
And I had not heard that. Kathleen, have you?
There's a lot of channeling going on right now. I'm not sure that it's for the best at all. It seems rather creepy.
Well, yeah, it may be, but I was just curious. I thought maybe you might have heard something about it, Art. So
no, I'm sure I will now, though.
Good. And let's see. And lastly, I wanted to know, I was reading some of my notes from prior shows, and I was kind of interested in some of the things I wrote down about this. I believe it was a Father Kramer. Who is that? Who is he?
I'm not.
He's at the Fatima Center, Father Paul Kramer, and he was friends with Malachi Martin and has taken up the gauntlet trying to get the real Third Secret released.
Okay, that's what it is then. Okay, and lastly, Art.
Can you hook me up with him, Kathleen?
You bet. I'll be talking to him tomorrow, Art.
Would you please get contact information for him and get him to me? Or
I sure
get
will.
it to me. All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Caller, very quickly.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Art. There's been some talk here over another radio show during the day, the Morning Express, and some callers have called in and they were talking about HARP. So sometime could you have another show on HARP?
Yes,
I'd like to know
course.
what that's all about.
Yes, I will indeed. Thank you very much. We are monitoring HARP, operating on various frequencies. Do you know about HARP, Kathleen? Are you up on that at all?
I do, and I think that we need to be very careful about what they're doing. I haven't gone through all the Bible code on it, but it looks pretty fascinating so far.
Really?
Uh-huh.
There are references to
572 references, I think, to HARP.
572?
Something like that, unless it's in the thousands. I know it's at least 572.
Wow.
Yeah, very impressive.
That stops me cold. Yes, if you could connect Father Kramer and myself, I'd appreciate it.
Be happy to.
All right. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
Good morning, Art.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kathleen. Listening to you on the new 97.1 in St. Louis. This is David in Whitehall, Illinois.
Yes, we are now on FM in St. Louis.
Kathleen, I certainly think you have a valid warning about the anti-Messiah, as I refer to him, and certainly the one world government deception, which I think is upon us. And we're certainly talking about the ultimate questions, it seems, tonight. I believe in the inspired Hebrew Bible, including the New Testament. However, I don't call myself a Christian. I do believe in the Creator, Yahweh, and the Messiah, Yahshua, which means Yahweh is salvation. I certainly, and I'm sure you already realize that. I don't believe, though, personally, in such a thing as the rapture, that it will occur. But the Bible says that the entire world will be deceived. Even Christianity as a whole, I think, will be deceived by what we've already talked about, the great miracles, these devious miracles, which are going to be done by this man. I mean, how certainly could he even ended up in your backyard in Nebraska? I mean, I believe that happened, and that's just amazing. But of course, they said the truth shall set you free. Do you think, Kathleen, as I do, that the Great Tribulation will begin in the spring of the year, and we're coming up on the spring, and go 3.5 years until the true Messiah comes in the fall, in the Feast of Trumpets? Do you believe along those lines?
I somewhat agree with your timeline. I think it could begin in the spring, as a lot of things begin in the spring. I think it's symbolic. But I think that we might see Jesus return on Good Friday, 3 years after we start the tribulation.
Mm-hmm. Great show, Art. Appreciate it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for the call. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Good morning.
Hello, it's me?
Well, only you know that for sure. It sounds like you, though.
Okay.
Where are you?
I'm in Ojai, California.
Okay. You're going to have to speak up good and loud.
Okay. She mentioned something about purgatory and saying that it was a time to give up all the things that were attached to.
All the earthly things, yes.
Well, I think purgatory is a lot more serious than that, because I go through that right now, through awareness, seeing the things that I'm attached to. I think purgatory is a lot more than just giving up things.
It is, and it's very hard to describe in just a short amount of time, but it is very serious. And some people go through it on earth, as you said, either through physical suffering, mental anguish, or whatever. It's a lot of things.
Is there any way to measure in time, in a time frame that we would understand how long somebody might be in purgatory?
There was a question brought up by Lucy at Fatima, who asked the Blessed Mother if her friend had made it to heaven, and the Blessed Mother replied that no, she was in purgatory for her sins. And she said, Lucy said, how long would she be there? And she said, until the end of time.
Until the end of time?
Until the end of time. I have heard that some people are in there as 1,500 years, whatever it takes to get their soul refined.
And this was a friend of...
Lucy knew her in Fatima. And she had died, I think, at the age of 18. And so she was paying for some of the sins that she had committed. Not that they weren't forgiven. They're automatically forgiven through confession or, when you tell the Lord you're sorry.
Well, I'm going to be seeing the year 10,000 coming.
I don't know, Art. I think if we live through this tribulation, that's our purgatorial suffering. I think that a lot of purgatory will be wiped out by enduring a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Good morning.
Yes, Art?
Yes.
Yes, this is Rich from Omaha.
Yes, sir.
First want to say it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
We missed you.
Thank you.
And Kathleen, I was raised a Catholic, although I don't no longer attend the Catholic Church. I am still a Christian. Earlier you was talking about the making images speak and such. I think in the Bible, the book of Exodus, where it speaks of not making any graven images or any likeness of anything in heaven above or the earth beneath, I think that's probably the reason that was written.
Well, it could be in the long run, but do you keep pictures of your family up? I think a lot of people that are in the Catholic faith anyway, or in Christian faith, put pictures of Jesus up. I mean, they feel that they're part of his family. And I don't think it's idolatry, but I think it certainly with the end times, lots of strange things will be happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's dangerous as far as to things that involve our religion or our faith.
You can't throw your baby out, and if your baby starts talking to you, maybe a week old, I mean, that's going to be pretty startling. I mean,
yeah, it would. It definitely would be.
Yeah, you can take the pictures down, but that baby's still going to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, I guess if it says it in the Bible, there has to be a reason, for it to say that. And I just think that images like that, especially something to do with one's faith, gives a tendency for it just leaves itself open for demonic beings or extraterrestrials or whatever you would call them to make use of them.
Well, think of how many Protestant churches, too, have statues up to saints on the outside of the buildings, especially in Europe. I mean, maybe they'll start talking. Who knows?
And that would do it for me, Kathleen. It really would do it, and would do it for most people.
Scare the crap out of you.
Yeah, that's the problem. It would do it for most people.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how even those of faith are going to make it past all of this tomfoolery that you say will precede everything.
Well, that's where the warning comes in and the miracle, because it's going to be made abundantly clear who's who and what's what.
But before that happens, a lot of people are going to fall for it, right?
Well, I don't think we're going to, I hopefully not. I think that some things are going to happen, but I think when we get further into the tribulation is when we're going to see this kind of phenomenon take place.
All right. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Good morning.
Good morning. Art, great program. Kathleen, 3 questions. Would the possibility of the church consecrating Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary possibly delay the timetable you've put forth?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's our downfall, and we're paying for it.
Number 2, you mentioned the massacre of the church except for a remnant. Could you possibly go into that? And third,
West of the Rockies, call toll-free 1-800-618-8255.
the Rocky. Going to air that caller. It's too close, and it would identify. I'm just not going to do it. I'll tell you what. Just know that you were correct. All right.
Thank you, Art.
I bleeped that out, but you were correct.
Thank you, Art.
All right, Kathleen. Hold on, sir. Well, no, he's already gone. Kathleen.
Well, the remnant that he's talking about is we're going to see a big schism in the Catholic Church and Christian churches. And the church will go underground much as it did in the first century in the catacombs in Rome, and will be underground all over the world. And there will be very few people left that are true believers, but they will survive.
All right.
So be protected as well.
East of the Rockies, your turn with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Hi, Art. How you doing?
Fine.
Hey, I got a question for Kathleen.
Okay.
Now, I've been searching for this answer for quite a while, so maybe you can help me out and try to help me to understand this. Okay, it says in the Bible, that Satan was the most beautiful angel ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then he wanted to, become God, take over his position. Okay, and God cast him out of heaven. That became good and evil. Okay, now let me ask you this, and maybe you can help me understand. Excuse me, I'm kind of nervous here.
That's all right. Just relax and say what you want to say.
What I want to know is, why is mankind caught up in a fight that is not even ours? It's between God and the devil. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, and that's a good question. I think that we are caught up in it because we choose to be. I think that it's been the design of Lucifer all along, to get as many souls as possible, because in his frame of mind, he believes that the more souls he captures in hell will make him like God, and that he will one day be let back into heaven. That's what this is all about.
Maybe the devil's like the Chinese, and they figure if there's a high enough population, they can take a big hit, and it won't matter.
Right.
In a war.
Right. That's a very good way to put that.
I don't know. God. Yeah, west of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Hello, Art. This is Cliff in Colorado Springs on 740 KBOR.
Yes, sir. That's the way to do it.
First off, I'd like to thank you for introducing me to Father Martin over your radio program.
You bet.
And I wish he was still around to help us. My question, I guess, to Kathleen, Sean David Morton one time had referred to Father Martin's death and the release of the third secret, in that Father Martin had to be gone before they could release the false secret.
Well, I believe that.
Yeah, so do I.
That would release him from his oath.
No, I agree with you, caller.
He would have let the truth be known. I think he would have.
I think so
declared
too.
It.
Yeah, and he being the only one out there who had the authority, as he always put it, to question the Pope and the Vatican. Also, Art, I don't believe you should interview this Antichrist, because you don't have the protection of Father Martin.
No, I don't have very much protection at all. Thank you very much. Not according to most of what I've heard tonight. If the faith is what gives you protection, I'm in big trouble. So you raise a very good point.
But Father Martin would have helped you.
I'm sure he would have.
One last thing.
You really are particularly right about Father Martin had to be gone before they could do the release of that, I don't know what to call it, that facade they released, calling it the third secret.
One last thing. Kathleen, where can I get more information on the Bible Code, please?
I have some of it up on my site if you can ever get in at KathleenKeating.com.
Yes.
We have stuff up every week on the Bible Code.
That is the address, KathleenKeating.com.
That's it.
All right. Very good. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
Is it my turn?
Your turn, yes.
Okay, this is Dave in Dallas, listening to you on 570 AM.
Cliff, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I tuned in a little bit late. I was wondering if she could expand a little bit on what she said about the Chinese on our border. And I know you've talked many a times in your show about near-death experiences and people seeing going through a tunnel and seeing the light at the end of that tunnel.
Yes.
And possibly Jesus. Would she say that truly is Jesus, or maybe the devil deceiving people? Those are my
Kathleen, NDEs.
It could be both. I think that some people see Jesus and some people see the angel of light. We know that at death we see demons as well as we go through that valley of darkness through the tunnel and headed for the light. So I pay more attention to the bad experiences of NDEs than the good ones.
It's funny. There are a lot of bad ones, but people don't talk about them.
They don't want to talk about
I've had a few really fascinating interviews from people who have had the bad ones, but you don't hear about them very often, and they certainly don't write about them in books. Kathleen, hold on. We are at the bottom of the hour. Good morning, all, from the high desert, the soggy high desert. Kathleen Keating is my guest. She'll be here through the end of the program. From Terry in Denver, Colorado, a fast blast, and I think a very good one, too. It says, how about the aliens and the invasion that Kathleen talked about earlier? Pin her down, Art, for details. We need to know more, especially about first contact. So, okay. Kathleen, if we were to suddenly get a wild message from, and I have contacts with the SETI people, that are looking out for first contact, and they were to tell me, oh my God, Art, we've got the WOW signal or whatever it is they call it.
Right.
And we have contact. How would you interpret that?
The beginning of the end?
Really?
Yeah, I think that we're going to see it really soon. Obviously, the sightings have become more and more prevalent.
Yes.
Channeling people have gotten a lot more messages that they're going to make their move. And the children that I talked about earlier are seeing them. So it's going to happen soon. I don't know as to when it's going to happen. I would think very soon we're going to see some real proof that they do exist. And that we may even hear that there's going to be a galactic war and the Earth's going to be right in the middle of it.
And so then if first contact occurred, you would simply regard that as the beginning of the end?
Yeah, I would. I would think that we need to be prepared to see wall-to-wall demons and not just ETs, but the real thing, the genuine articles.
Well, it's interesting, Kathleen. There was a study that was done by a commission about how we would react to first contact.
Mm-hmm.
And that study suggested that it would be a catastrophe, that people would believe all kinds of things. And based on what you just said, I guess the Brookings Institution that did that study, in my opinion, would be correct. If the majority of the religious community interpreted first contact, as you obviously do, it would not be a good thing.
Well, I think it may seem like a good thing in the beginning, but I think that we'd all find out that it isn't. The New York Times had an opportunity to release the fact that ETs existed in 1960 or so, and they opted not to because they thought that chaos would ensue.
Mm-hmm. I think so, too. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hello.
Kathleen?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing? This is Michael in El Paso, Texas at the moment. I'm a truck driver. And, of course, I just came out of Laredo, Texas this afternoon, and with what you guys were talking about on the Mexican border, NAFTA has just given an influx of trucks, Mexican trucks, into the United States to actually run the whole state. And, this is thousands of trucks coming across our borders every day. So what you're saying kind of is alarming to me.
Well, it's very alarming. I talked to a former customs agent, John Carmen. I think Art's talked to him, too. At least John mentioned that he's been down there, and they're just letting trucks and everything else through just without being stopped, and that's a very dangerous situation for us.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's thousands a day at each border crossing coming across. I can't see how they could possibly thoroughly check every truck coming across.
The answer is they don't.
They don't, and it's planned that they don't.
Yeah, they definitely can't. I guess really no question. I just I'd heard that, and of course, like I say, coming out of Laredo today, wanted to make that statement. I thought it was kind of interesting. One other thing, though, as I listen to any radio station I can get clear at the moment. And of course, the area that I was coming through, I had about 4 to choose from, and fading between all of them. One of the commercials that came on after that or during one of your commercials, was talking about actually the New World Order is this new one world religion.
Okay, that would have been from whatever station you were listening to. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it was. Like I say, a lot of them I choose. But anyway, just even as the program's going on, different things I'm hearing, in commercials and on the news. So I guess those are all my comments. Thank you. Art, glad we're back, and thanks for such a good show.
All right, thank you very much. Kathleen, here's an interesting question for you.
Okay.
You sounded relieved at the results of the election. Is that fair?
Only because, not necessarily in the outcome, but in the fact that what could have happened to the country. So I was glad, yes, we did have a president one way or the other, without something happening.
All right, but you were not particularly pleased that it was George Bush versus Al Gore?
I think they're both part of the same coin, both different sides of the same coin. I think that with Gore, we would have had a faster approach to the New World Order than we will with Bush. So Bush is better.
You really think that?
Yeah, I do.
Particularly in view of the fact that it was George Bush Sr. that first raised the specter of the New World Order. From his lips.
Yeah, but they have a different plan of attack, and I think that I'm not sure the Jesus Christ that George Bush believes in. I would like to think it's the genuine article, but then again, it could be the other one.
But there are many who say the apple does not fall far from...
Well, there you go. You didn't like, I don't think, the way he looked, his eyes. There was something in his eyes that bothered you. You mentioned, I think, a couple years ago.
He gave me the creeps.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I'm just hoping he's good for this country to give us a little more time.
I hope he is, too. All right, Wildcard Line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
Morning, Art. Morning, Kathleen.
Good morning.
Mike in rainy Redondo Beach, listening on KFI.
Yes, indeed.
Wanted to ask you, it's interesting that of all the books of the Bible, Revelation's the only one that promises a special blessing if you read it. And my specific question in regards to Revelation is, it mentions that the beast will have the number 666. And how do you tie that into maybe either confirmation of who the Antichrist is, or maybe that'll tie into the fact that Revelation discusses that we'll have to take the mark of the beast to trade? Do you see that tying into Social Security numbers or anything? Where do you see that 666?
Well, the Antichrist name in the Gematria code does add up to 666. If it's spelled the way that it normally is. I do see that any number of any kind being assigned is a danger. We're seeing it in Russia now that the barcode's being handed out and people are going crazy. They won't go to church if their priest or pastor has taken the number. So we're going to see a lot of that. I think we're not going to be able to buy or sell, and I think the Bible predicts it. So gold and silver will eventually be worthless.
Gold and silver worthless?
Yeah. The Bible says that in the book of Revelation, that within a day, the price of gold and silver will be nothing. Very scary stuff, because a lot of people, what are we going to do?
Sounds like you scared this caller. He's probably got a pile of gold there or something.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody says, Art, why not be honest with your listeners and mention that you've already had the fellow Kathleen is referring to on your program, October 11th of 98, and he gives the name. Yes, I had the man who represented that he could get the person who Kathleen has named as the Antichrist on the program. I certainly did, and he promised to get that person on my program. That's exactly right. This person who sent the message is dead on.
Mm-hmm.
So, east of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
This is me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. I'm Matt from Minneapolis, Minnesota, listening on AM 1500.
Yes, sir.
And my question, I'm going to try to keep it simple here because I have so many questions. But to start out, I guess, do you believe, I know the Antichrist, it's all going to happen and the Messiah will appear and God will come at the end, but will there be any, earthly warriors sent from God, actually human form?
Absolutely.
That will withstand or try to withstand?
They will put up a valiant fight against the Antichrist and his forces, and they will have powers that the saints in earlier times really had wished they'd been born now so that they could experience them.
So they won't hide, they will...
No, they will fight. They will come out in the open and they will fight.
Okay, wow. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome equally much, and thank you. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
Yes, good evening, Miss Kathleen.
Hi.
This is Lady of Kinnick in KENI, Alaska.
Right.
And hello, Art. Shalom. And about the book of the Bible codes, I read that, and everything was all synchronized. And then they got into where they were talking about that large earthquake of 5760, and that ended on Yom Kippur.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed that the year don't really end until we step into the month of Nisan, and that's March going into April, and that's when, like, the Jewish calendar, that the new year begins. And I think that is just really, really interesting that hasn't happened yet, and except for that one in India. I thought that was phenomenal. And also, the code working in 7, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it 1994, February the 28th, that the siege of Waco started? And then on this February 28th, 7 years later, we had that happening in Seattle. And also where it was talking about as in times of Noah, it said, they're saying March the 28th that the morning star is going to be the closest to the earth that it's been in 3,500 years. And the last time it did that was in the times of Noah when the flood came.
Gee, I'll give you one. I've been watching this. The scientists, the astronomers, are now saying we are going to have a visible to the eye comet this Christmas.
Hale-Bopp was in 1997.
Right.
And John the Revelator...
And this will be, they say, the next biggest thing to Hale-Bopp, and it will come at Christmas.
But, Art, you know what's really interesting about this thing is if you think back in 1997, Rosh Hashanah,
yes.
September, okay?
Yes.
Back in March of 97, it was when they had the peak of Hale-Bopp, that was March the 29th. And in your Zandervan, you read it, and it'll tell you that 97 AD is when John the Revelator wrote the book of Revelation, and that would mark 1900 years to the day. And if you go from September, Rosh Hashanah 97, to this here coming Easter, which is supposed to be the first Sunday after the first full moon after March the 21st, is supposed to be, make it around the 8th, okay?
Yes, I understand. So, in other words, you're fixing the date this spring. You don't necessarily disagree with that, Kathleen?
This spring for what, particular? Something to happen?
Yes.
Yes, I think so. I think we're going to see some things happening. And we've got 2 comets coming in December.
2 of them, really?
2. One's due on the 16th of December.
Wow.
Yeah.
I knew about one, but not 2.
They just found this other one.
All right. Every day, something new. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
Hi, Art. This is Fred from Woodinville, Washington, listening to Como.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate the program tonight. And I'd like to answer a question that you and quite a few other callers have asked concerning the futility that we are being subjected to. And according to God's own mouth, he said that we were subjected to futility not of our own will, but because of him who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its slavery to corruption into the freedom of the glory of the children of God. So that's his purpose. And what would be kind of a shock to you is, from what I understand from quite a bit of what I've heard about and learned in the Bible, is that we are really the aliens on this planet. We are not of this world. And that there were those Nephilim that corrupted the human race. God had to do everything legally. That's why it's taken so much time for his laws to be set forth, that things will be done legal in the universe, and that the demons are quite possibly the pre-Adamic creation that was mentioned in the Bible, because he said for us to replenish the earth, to take it back over, take the territory over, and I just would like to know what you think and Kathleen thinks about that, and I'll listen off the air. Thanks.
All right. Kathleen?
Well, I think the Nephilim have been a problem for a long time, and they continue to be, and certainly they intermarried with some of Adam's relatives, and the problem just keeps on getting worse and worse.
All right. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Good morning.
Good morning, Art. Good morning, Kathleen. This is Christopher calling from Hawaii. I'm listening to you on KHVH, the big 8:30 a.m.
Honolulu. Yes, sir.
That's right. Boy, there's a lot of passions evoked by this topic tonight. Kathleen, I support what you're saying. I believe very strongly. I'm a scientist and a spiritual person. Some guy got earlier, and he sounded very fanatically religious in his scientific point of view. Unfortunately, I think that the false religion persecuted science for so long. There's a backlash now. The new science has become the religion of the day. Christ did exist, though, because they have that the book that was written recently that said, "Oh, Christ was a myth. He didn't exist at all. It was just all made up." However, if that's the case, then Pontius Pilate was in on it because he wrote a letter to the Emperor of Rome declaring that he had crucified Christ, and was upset because his hand was moved by the religious leaders of the day. So Christ actually existed. He was a real man, whether or not he was an Essene or a Gnostic or whatever. I think the thing is, as we get closer and closer to the end times, there's more and more of this polarization between believers and non-believers. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's just going to increase. Pilate was given a revelation that he would kill the Christ himself, and was troubled by it. His wife had a dream too, and it came back to haunt him. And I think the proof is there. Whether we make gods out of the creation of God, or whether we accept God for who He is, it remains to be seen.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right, sir. Thank you. Time for one more, I think. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Kathleen Keating. Hi.
How you doing, Art?
Okay. Where are you?
I'm calling from Toronto, Canada. My name's Mike.
Okay.
How you doing, Kathleen?
Fine. How are you?
Not bad. I was just wondering, do you believe that Jesus Christ was God in human form?
I believe He's the Son of God in human form.
So you don't believe
He was
actually
human and God at the same time. There are three persons in God, and He was the second person.
Okay. Do you also believe that you have to be born again?
I do.
Okay.
Whether through baptism or whether accepting Christ as your Savior.
Oh, great. Another thing, I was wondering where you get your biblical background for the purgatory.
That's in Catholic dogma.
So it's not actually a Baptist or any other type biblical.
No, that's Catholicism all
That's
the way.
Catholicism.
Oh, I see. So you don't believe. So I'm just wondering why you believe in purgatory then.
I think that there's enough evidence from the saints and scholars to indicate that purgatory does exist. I know Father Martin talked about it a lot.
Oh, so you believe in getting information from true believers?
Well, they're the best kind to get the accurate information.
But they don't believe in being born again.
Sure they do. It's just a different phrase of how they put it. Catholics believe it in baptism that they're born again, and that you have to continually make that commitment every day of your life to be born again.
Okay. What about the fact that Jesus Christ is the only mediator between man and God?
He is the only bridge to the Father, and without Him we can't see the Father.
And on that note, we're going to have to close it out. Kathleen, again, once Kathleen's website is back up again, you can go take a look for yourself with regard to the name of the Antichrist and the organization. With regard to her book, The Final Warning, you can call 1-866-394-2665. That's 1-866-394-2665. Is there any other information you want to get on the air?
You can get the monthly newsletter for $14.95. It's at cost. That's it for information that's up to the latest minute in between books.
And I take it that's also on the information on that is on the website.
It is, and the phone number will apply to that as well.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Is that a monthly?
Monthly newsletter.
All right. Well, Kathleen, as always, thanks for coming on the air and scaring the hell out of all of us.
Thanks for having me, Art. I appreciate it.
Good night, Kathleen.
Good night.
All right, folks. That's it for now. Tomorrow night, Richard C. Hoagland is going to be here, and it's going to be quite a wild ride. So if it's been a while since you've heard Richard C. at his best, tune in tomorrow night. Otherwise, it's going to be a fascinating week. Remember, I said I've got this convention I'm going to. For now, that's it. I'm Art Bell. Night-night.